Jordan De Goey has again headed north to a popular holiday destination, but tonight on the Gold Coast it is strictly business as he resumes his place in this Collingwood side, hot off 5 straight wins and keen to reaffirm its place in the top 8 at a critical stage of this AFL season. The Gold Coast Suns themselves might have had a bit of winning momentum had they not succumbed to Port Adelaide last week by 2 points, but nonetheless at 7-7 there's a massive opportunity for Stuart Dew's men to make a statement at home against a worthy opponent in rather wet conditions, although dry for now, here at Carrara Stadium. Welcome to Grandstand AFL. My name is Brett Sprigg, and alongside me to call the action tonight is Michael Price. Thanks for having me, Pricey.
Yeah, good evening, Spriggy. It's an exciting night here on the Gold Coast. The corporates have just made their way out from underneath, and the grandstand's starting to fill up, atmosphere just starting to build. Flip of a coin here, mate. I'm looking forward to it.
We had Daryl Braithwaite perform pre-game. They're hoping for 20,000, which would put it in the top 5 all-time Gold Coast Suns home crowds. We'll keep an eye on that crowd figure. The team news here, most importantly, a late change for the Suns. You might say they have an ace up their sleeve. Hawago Paul Oya is the Papua New Guinean midfielder who they call Ace, an international rookie. He's been there for a few years. He gets his opportunity tonight. He's in for Chris Burgess, who is the late out. Alex Davies out with a knee injury. Jai Farah under the health and safety protocols also misses. Braden Fiorini, who was the used sub last week, he is their sub again this week. Jack Cheetas will also debut. The mature age rookie from South Australia, last year's Magarey medalist, is getting his opportunity, and Connor Butterick returns from a hammy. For the Magpies, Jordan De Goey headlines the inclusions, as I mentioned off the top. Trey Rusco was the unused sub. He rejoins their 22. They lose Jeremy Howe through illness, and Isaac Chugg has been omitted but retained this week as their medical sub. Our team is pretty solid. We're not lacking for height. Jeff White, welcome.
G'day, Spriggy. Welcome up here too.
Looking forward to it.
Got away from the water. Got away from the wetness.
It's raining a lot in Sydney, and it's rained a fair bit on the way in here as well, but for now, it is staying away. Matty Primus, welcome to you.
Turn myself on. Great evening for it. It drizzled here most of the day, but it stopped the last couple of hours or so, and this ground holds up really well. So
it dries pretty good.
It does.
I've seen both the sides warm up, look pretty. Look, conditions are pretty good. The radar looks to be clear, so hopefully. Yeah, in for a fast and quick night.
Opening bounce is 90 seconds away here. Scott Penderbury has won the toss, and I believe they'll kick to the southern end of Carrara Stadium. What are your key focus areas? Your final couple of words on tonight's game?
Well, I just think the Suns, if they get the 4 points tonight, they've got to use the ball really well. They've got to cut through. They've got to own the corridor. That's when they play their best footy. They're going through the corridor, using their hands, and they're getting run from behind. That's the key for the Suns tonight.
Yeah, it is. The ball will be a bit slippery, and the ball will be on the ground. But they played it pretty well this ground. They've beaten Freo in the wet here. They beat Carlton here, and all their wins have come this year when they've won contested possession. And Collingwood have been the best contested possession team the last 5 weeks. So something to keep an eye on. Suns have had the worst first quarters in the competition this year, but the best last quarter, so I'm sure that'll be something they'll be trying to work on the first 10 or 15 minutes here in front of their home crowd.
Their targets up forward have been impressive. Mabior Chol and Levi Casbolt in the absence, of course, of Ben King, but tonight may not be all that conducive to that. We'll see how all that goes. Zane Bojack is boundary side for us this evening. What's it like down there, Zano? Good evening.
Oh, good evening, Spriggy. Well, look, Collingwood's chasing 6 wins in a row. There's a lot of black and white in the crowd. I think they're going to enjoy it tonight because it's cold, wet, slippery, 16 degrees. They're going to feel like they're back home in Melbourne. I have a feeling, though, the Suns might win tonight.
Yeah, it's one of the games of the round. It will have real consequence for the top 8. The Suns at 7-7, the Pies 9-5. It's 11th versus 8th tonight. A reminder, of course, at Kardinia Park, we'll keep you across what's happening with Geelong and North Melbourne. Earlier, we saw Essendon beat Sydney by 9 points, and Melbourne most recently over Adelaide at Adelaide Oval by 29 points. But this could be one of the games of the round. Final tip, Matt Primus, who do you like?
Suns by 2 goals.
Whitey?
Yeah, I think I'm hoping the Suns win. I think Collingwood will, but I think hoping Suns.
Saturday night cracker coming your way here on Grandstand AFL, and getting us underway. Here is Michael Price.
Umpire Andrew Stevens has ball in hand. Atmosphere electric here at Carrara. Perfect bounce. Cameron and Witts over the top, but the clearance comes to De Goey. Instant impact on the left, inside 50. Good contest, fisted away by Graham for the Gold Coast over the boundary line, and will get a throw in 35 metres out from the Collingwood goal. They're attacking here, but under the night sky here at the Gold Coast.
Back in it comes. Cameron Tussles down there with Witts, the former Pie. Cameron follows up. Can't get clean possession. Goes to ground. Rail merges with the football here. Just ricochets out to Noble. Can't trap it on the flank. Hacks it out of the air. And it goes inside forward 50. And it finds the chest of Oliver Henry, but will come back. And it did, in fact, go out over that boundary line. So a stoppage at left half forward for the Pies, attacking the southern end of Carrara Stadium here tonight. No score in the opening 60 seconds.
So here comes the throw in. Umpire hoiks it over one-handed. Witts got it down. Instantly the ball attracts a crowd. Rao got the ball back to Jack Bowes. Off one step, kicks it to the logo on the wing. Quainer, he gathers the ball. Rankin gathers him. Takes him to ground, and the umpire says we'll ball it up. It's a slowish start to the game.
Isaac Quainer's 50th game tonight, by the way. Ruck's go at it again. Hacked out of the air by Sidebottom. They get some run going here. Crisp goes the fend. Gets the hand pass away. They go inside forward 50 through Hoskin Elliott, and it's chopped off though. Nice intercept mark taken by Graham. And they'll start again from fullback here, the Gold Coast Suns. A short chip pass to Noah Anderson.
Yep, the number 2 draft pick next to his mate in Matt Rowell, who was number 1 in 2019. Rowell receives it now from Tuke Miller. Those three will be heavily involved in the midfield for the Gold Coast, have been so far this season. Long kick from Rowell to half forward. Casbolt got a little nudge in the back. Crowd wanted it. Front and square was Roses, towed it off the deck inside 50. It was Holman who tracked the ball to the boundary line. He got nudged over by Noble. The ball went with them. Throw in 15 metres out, left forward pocket.
With a defence of Collingwood, that's where the Casbolt and Marvio Chol is going to be really important with a kick down the line. There's going to be times going to have to bail out the Suns.
2.5 played here, no score. Back in it comes. Cameron up in front here for the Pies. Witts follows up though. Hand pass, skids off the deck. Gathered here by Noble. Again, Miller goes in hard. Merging with the football, Casbolt, dispossessed. They try again. Full forward here for the Gold Coast Suns. Can they get something going? It's locked in. The umpire will ball it up.
Yeah, I think to keep an eye on, both teams are the best and second best in the competition in intercepting the ball, and Graham marked an intercept there, so keep an eye on both teams, how they defend quick kicks.
Umpire throws it up at the top of the goal square. Chance just missed for the Gold Coast. It's going to be rushed through by the Pies, one behind. So after nearly 3 minutes of the first term, one behind at the Gold Coast, Collingwood play on quickly.
Darcy Moore, precise kick out beyond offensive 50, back with a flight side bottom, short kick up the line now. And again, Hoskin Elliott marks on the outer wing. They stream forward here in black and white jumpers. Fight out the hand pass again. Nick Dacos, loopy ball over the top, still gets some run going. Dacos gets it back, goes inside forward 50, leading up and marking. Jamie Elliott takes a chest mark. 45 out, 45-degree angle. Again, he's got options coming forward, but he may go back and take the set shot.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch there, how quick Collingwood move the ball. The Suns are the best team in the competition at locking you inside forward 50. So the Pies, all urgency to get the ball out there, so the Suns couldn't set up.
Coast to coast on the Gold Coast. Well, the Magpies first up here. It's their first look through Jamie Elliott. First real opportunity tonight for either side. 4 minutes played, he connects from 50, right on the paint of the arc. It goes across the face, not quite to the line. Intercepted here by Henry. He's now dispossessed. It comes loose. It's going to be coming back here, holding the ball. Tackler rewarded, so it is going to come back to the Gold Coast player in Butterick, who put the tackle on him. So Butterick back in the side from that hamstring injury. Has it at left full back. It's the Gold Coast Suns one behind. The Pies yet to score through the opening 4.5.
Connor Butterick from the Labrador area. Another local from the Gold Coast. It's a long kick in the Witts direction, but cutting in front. Yeah, it was a good grab, Jeff White, from Levi Casbolt. Bit of protection, but it needed to be taken. He went laterally, found a teammate. Now it's chipped into the middle of the ground. Overturned now. Collingwood with a chance. Hoskin Elliott streams away, has a bounce, goes long to the goal square, and just touched. It was Lemons and I think it was Jamie Elliott got hands to it. So just 1 point apiece. And they play on quickly the Gold Coast to go to right half back.
Didn't go for home, Hoskin Elliott. Probably could have.
Could have, yeah. I think, well, it probably was.
Suns move it quickly here across the outer wing. Mark just forward of halfway. Swallow inside forward. 50 finds the chest of Mabior Chol. Nice entry from the home side. And Chol here is 35 out, 45-degree angle.
Just really good spread there from the Suns on the 45. And I like the fact that they still came back in the middle. Casbolt kicked in the middle before. A bit of a turnover. Could have resulted in a goal, but I like that they're still persisting to go inside the middle.
Your Chol, 3 goals, 3 last week against Port, including a Goal of the Year nomination as well. He's had 10 goals in 4 games. The say, he's certainly had a role to play up there with Levi Casbolt. Connects from 40, straight over the goal umpire's hat. The Suns have the first. 1-1-7 the home side. The Magpies, it's the one behind. We've travelled 6 minutes in the opening term here on Grandstand AFL.
You called his form there, Spriggs. He's kicked, that's his 31st for the year. He'll be one of the pickups for the year. You know, playing a role and in and out of Rich's team. Obviously a very good team over the last 3 or 4 years, but geez, he's been a super target, not only on the lead, but as you've mentioned, Whitey a couple of times, in the air, or pack marking, he brings the ball to ground, and then his athleticism when the ball hits a deck, he turns into a little man very quickly. So, yeah, just a great pickup by the Suns, and he certainly held up his end of the bargain.
Around the grounds, by the way, Geelong got the jump on North Melbourne. 2-1-13, the early scoreline there. North Melbourne yet to score. A reminder, you can hear that on the AFL app. Find our ABC Grandstand call there. We'll keep you across it, though, with regular score updates here.
Big moment for the Gold Coast crowd. They were cheering as 2 debutants come onto the field in James Cheetas and Huago Paul Oya. The clearance now with the Gold Coast. Comes out to Anderson. Ginnivan just misses him and the ball, though. Who was it that didn't? It was actually came in, got a free kick against it. Was Rao. Got dealt high by Lipinski at the base of the centre square. He chips it forward 10 metres, finds Anderson. It's just blocked up in front. Both teams have structured up very nicely defensively. So Ellis now receives it, and then he decides to go very long in the Chol direction. It was a 1-on-2, hard against the boundary line, and Chol took it over there where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary. We'll get a throw in.
That's where they're down the line so important, Nick. I like that they're chipping it, the Suns, but then there's going to be a point where Collingwood will go one-on-one. They'll force you to go down the line. That's where it's important those big fellas bring it to ground.
Voice of Jeff White on Grandstand AFL. This is ABC Sport. Back in it comes. Witts in front here. Clean tap down here for Rankin. Can't quite get it going in the pocket. Runs out of room. And we'll throw it back in again. You can keep your text coming, by the way. 0437 774 774. Another stoppage inside 50 here for the Gold Coast Suns. They lead by a goal.
4 tackles to 1 so far for the Gold Coast. The throw in, shallow, but comes off the hands of Witts. Rankin gathers. Got stripped of the ball. Now Swallow. Kick to the top of the square. Chol and Casbolt at the back.
Great mark.
That's big Levi. He's got the bulk. But I tell you what, the Pies defence didn't have much chance there. Both Casbolt and Chol flying for it, but the big fella took the clunk.
That's 2 contested marks already.
Levi Casbolt, you mentioned that Chol's kicked 31 for the year. Levi waltzes in and kicks his 27th. It's been a handy couple of additions for the Gold Coast with the loss of King, but the second goal for the Suns comes up after the 8-minute mark of the first term. 2-1-13 leads, 1 behind.
Start here from the Suns. Just the ability to get the ball moving, connect up with foot and hand, and also just where they've kicked the ball. If they're going to go down the line, it's to get a stoppage to put the ball in. But that kick there from Swallow was perfect, top of the goal square.
Meanwhile, Pinya Park, Geelong 2-2-14. North Melbourne yet to score. Same stage of play there. 9 minutes travelled.
Yeah, great grab. And just working in tandem, both Levi Casbolt and Mario Chol at the moment.
Rain staying away for now. Restart back in the middle. Up goes Cameron, opposed to Witts. First pair of hands still Adams. In fact, he was shoved out there by Swallow. Umpire lets them play. Clearance goes the way of the Suns. Quain, although, traps it at half back. Floats the hand pass forward side bottom. Dummies the hand pass and now kicks up the line. On the bounce it arrives Lipinski. Dumped here in the big tackle of Oleg Markov. And the umpire says, give it to me. On the Narang River wing here at Carrara Stadium, where it's the Gold Coast Suns 2-1-13. The Pies are 1 behind. 10 go on opening term.
They've started well, the Gold Coast at home. Umpire throws it up. Witts gets it down. Big crowd there too. Adams goes in. Explodes out of the pack, but then gets caught at the end. Free kick Gold Coast, and Took Miller plays on, takes advantage. Inside 50. Casbolt spoiled beautifully, but at front and square was Rankin. He fends off his opponent in Maynard. Difficult to do. Kicks it back to the Casbolt direction. Rove by Ainsworth. Here he is. Oya. First touch in footy, and it's a goal. Fairy tale. Away go Paul Oya. The first Papua New Guinean to come through to the development system. First touch. Oh, that is brilliant. Gold Coast 3-1-19. one behind to Collingwood. 18 points the margin, 10.5 gone first term.
That's a moment, isn't it?
That is a moment. Just the ability for them, the tools, make sure it didn't get outmarked. The Gold Coast Suns forwards, and just the crumbing. Rankin again, the handball, and a pretty fast and finish, but you saw his speed. He was able to burst away there, size him up. Yep, great finish. Great moment for the young fella.
Unbelievable.
Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Oh, boys, they say rugby league is the national sport in PNG. I think it's just become the native sport of Australia, the AFL, with Ace kicking an ace goal. By the way, Collingwood conceded 7 of the last 9 goals against GWS. Now they've conceded 10 of the last 12 against 2 opponents over 2 weeks. This is not looking good for the Black and Whites.
Good point you make, Zane. His nickname is Ace. First kick, first goal. There it is. Absolutely tremendous. Grew up in Port Moresby. International scholarship with the Gold Coast Suns. He only found out this morning, Stuart Dew went to his house and said, mate, you're playing tonight. That was the late change, and here he is. Restart back in the middle. It's not going anywhere. The umpire will ball it up again.
Yeah, some red lights in the Collingwood coach box. 4 inside 50s for 4 shots on goals.
Down it comes. Clearance here will go the way of the Pies, and Josh Dacos brings it towards left half full, leading up Mycheck. Still a long way from home, 75 out. Wheels and goes now. Plays on. To Spears the pass inside 50. It was a little too deep, and the intercept was taken down there by Markov. It'll be either a mark or a chopping of the arms. Same result either way for the Gold Coast Suns. A ball at right full back, and it's they who lead by 18 points.
So Markov to Lemons across the goal. Dances around Henry and then kicks long. Maynard just bodied out of it then by Cheetahs, and he'll win himself a free kick. Broden Maynard, very tough competitor, just forward to the centre wing in front of the interchange gates. Pies trailing by 18 points with 12 gone to the first term. Just about every player on the paddock in front of Maynard, in front of the halfway line. Left foot, kicks it long, looking for Cox. He missed it over the back. Henry, how about that? It just dropped into his bread basket there. I thought Cox had blown the chances for Collingwood. It was definitely aimed at him.
That's the beauty of Cox, though. When he gets that run and jump at it, I mean, there's not many people that can stop him, but it just creates all that movement for Collingwood to get in those positions.
Ollie Henry been very handy. 20 goals for the year. Comes in. He's got the first for Collingwood. 3-1-19, plays 1-1-7, 13 gone first term. Grandstand AFL, Michael Price, Brett Sprigg, our experts, Matthew Primus and Jeff White.
Good energy already in this game, isn't it?
It's great energy. Both teams are trying to play really quick. The Suns' speed looks a little bit quicker than the Pies now, but what you said, Whitey, Cox goes for the ball, he draws 2 Suns defenders, and they got caught under the ball as much as Cox did too, with the beautiful sunglasses on there that you normally see in the daytime up in the coast. But a great man starting a fashion trend there, but beautiful kick inside 50 to put the Gold Coast defenders under the pressure.
Yeah, that's right. The kick from Maynard was good. Get off his line, penetrating left foot, and a good spot too. It's not in a position where you could get like the Suns player or you could get a spoil on it, could have a rush behind it. It was in a really dangerous position.
14 gone in the opening term. So the Pies with their first through Ollie Henry. Margin 12 points the Suns' way. Back in the middle. Cox v. Witts, slapped away by Swallow. Clearance here goes the way of the Gold Coast Suns. Inside 50 they go. 2-on-2. Coming to make the contest, Maynard. Sprawled out in open space. Off the chest of Degoe. Sharked here by the Suns. Hand pass comes to Rao. Off a step, goes high towards full forward and coming across Moore. Takes the intercept mark at fullback, and the Pies can go again through the corridor. A little too wide, but it's a nice slip catch taken by Trey Rusco. And the Pies go again.
Here comes Noble under pressure, chip ball, and it is a good contest on the wing from Jamie Elliott. He brought the ball to ground, handball just in front of Dacos Josh to right half forward, fisted away from Degoe. Very nice players. Noah Anderson-Robes. Dangerous kick into the corridor. Quainer couldn't make the Gold Coast pay. And that kick from Ainsworth went into the backside of his teammate Ellis. Still it bounces into the Gold Coast hands. His Oyer. First touch in footy was a goal. Second one is a mark on the outer wing.
Wheels and goes now. High ball inside. Forward 50. Needs a flyer. Casbolt goes up. Can't really in the mark. There's Cheetahs at ground level. The debutant. One of 2 tonight for the Gold Coast Suns. But it's locked in. And will ball up in the right forward pocket. Gold Coast attacking end. Scoreboard end. 3-1 plays 1-1. The Suns here by 12 points. 15 and a half gone. The umpire wastes no time. Cox uncontested in the ruck. Shares it down there with Moore. Cheetahs goes again here for the Suns. Can't paddle it out. Does so eventually now. They shy across the face of goal. It's a little too deep, and Murphy takes the intercept mark. They're trying to find Ainsworth. Murphy takes the mark at fullback.
Well, that's not quite 15 metres. Umpire says it is. It's just a little pass into the left back pocket. It's Maynard. Typically long left foot kick in the direction of Cox. Big Mason takes it in front of Ballard. He wants to move forward quickly, does it to Hoskin Elliott on the outer wing. He takes off quickly. He finds Myercheck. No, Myercheck makes a meal of it. Actually came off his toe in the end. At left half forward for Collingwood. We'll get a throw in. They're trailing by a couple of goals.
While in Geelong, the Cats 3-3-21. The Kangaroos yet to score. Midway through the opening term there. Back in it comes at Carrara. Cox from behind on Witts. Down here, Chris bursts away, tumbles it towards full forward, now setting a task that Graham in defence gets back for the Gold Coast Suns. He was trying to find Adams on that entry. Kick now comes, was touched, so Rowell will pick it up and go beyond defensive 50. Now it's intercepted by Quainer, just thought of halfway on the outer edge of the square. Suns by 12 points, 17 gone opening term.
He's on halfway, every player on the paddock in front of him. Isaac Quainer kicks it to 20 metres from the goal line. Fisted forward. Front and square was Henry. Couldn't pick it up. Tried to be towed off the deck by Swallow. Now enter Hoskin Elliott. He can't quite control it as he's tackled by Noah Anderson. The ball spills. Bowes in there for the Gold Coast. Gets it onto his boot. Up and down. Just outside defensive 50. Casbold enters the fray. It bounces off his big chest. Then Anderson roves it again. He tumbles it towards the outer wing. Beautifully tapped down by Noble into the hands of Murray, who got it down to Darcy Moore, who was tackled by several. Ball held up. A couple of the youngsters there in Oyer and Ainsworth held him up, and we'll get a ball up on the outer wing.
Just great from both sides. The transition to defence from both sides is exceptional at the moment.
Gold Coast by 12 points here. Rucks wrestle here. Anderson tries to clear for the Suns. Ricocheted back now for Lipinski. Chris provides some assistance, and Subbottom runs out of room under pressure from Bowes. Will board in again on the outer side. Just thought of halfway Collingwood's attacking end. It's the Suns 3-1-19. Collingwood 1-1-7. 18 gone here in the opening quarter.
Umpire will hurl it over his back. Witts with Cox in front position. Witts still got it away. Tapped down by Anderson, straight into the arms of side bottom for Collingwood though. He tries to find Lipinski next to the boundary line. Lipinski did well to keep the ball in, then went for a pass. It was Henry. He get a free kick. It was a bit of a chop of the arms there from Caleb Graham. So Ollie Henry, goal kicker for the Pies, is going to receive the free kick just forward of centre wing on the outer side. He'll go long, inside 50. Big pack flies. Ballard tries the juggling effort. Collins picks it up off the deck. Handball indiscriminate. Ginnivan has a crack. And Ginnivan kicks a goal. He had a split second to deal with that. And a great little snap on the left. Pies with their second. 3-1-19 plays 2-1-13. 19 gone in the first term.
I was watching that really closely. Went inside forward 50. Just the way he positioned himself. He doesn't need much room for him to get any angle. And, yeah, just positioned himself really, really well.
Ballard will be disappointed with that drop mark there. I think him and Collins are the best two duo in the comp at intercepting the ball, and dropped a sitter there. And this guy is dangerous, isn't he, around goal? His goal sense is great.
It's a few last time they met as well, Jack Ginnivan. 3 goals, 1 when they met back in round 7. That was a week after his Rising Star nomination. He's a polarising figure in the game, isn't he?
He loves it though, doesn't he?
There should be more personalities like it in the game. I don't mind it.
No arguments here. Suns by 6 points. Approaching time on here in the opening term. Meanwhile, Kinnear Park, Geelong 3-4-22. North Melbourne yet to score. You'll find a full call of that on the AFL app. Just look for the ABC worm. Chris wrapped up by Miller. The umpire said, surely no will board up. Didn't have prior. Hanging on for an eternity that time. Took Miller on Jack Crisp. Umpire wastes no time. Cameron up against Witts. Again, down here, Hoskin Elliott dispossessed. Holman's hand pass picked off by Nick Dacos. Floats it further afield here. Lipinski is unmarked. Back edge of the square. Has some space to move. Fires out the hand pass to Jack Crisp. He draws the man. Finds Adams inside 50 by hand. He can kick up the line. Ginnivan takes the mark. Just up above the boundary line. The umpire has played it. Not far from where he kicked that last goal on the run a moment ago. We'll have a set shot here, Jack Ginnivan. from deep in the left forward pocket. Open up the angle on the right boot. Chance for back-to-back goals for Collingwood, and Jack Ginnivan crosses the boundary line to kick, brings it back superbly. Oh, he's a star. And he levels things up here. Gold Coast and Collingwood 3-1, 19 apiece. We've travelled 21 minutes in the opening term here on Grandstand AFL at Carrara.
It's just the small defenders for the Suns that are looking a bit anxious down there, Whitey. Budrick, Lemons, Bowes, they're looking a little bit jittery with the speed and talent and craft of those Collingwood small forwards.
And just and the kick inside forward 50 to Ginnivan too. Just the ability to know where the drop of the ball was going to be, protect that zone, take the mark inside. So yeah, they'll just go tidy up a little bit. I think it all comes to the midfield too. You don't want to have those kicks coming in uncontested sort of possessions that are going inside the forward 50. Yep. So just go tidy up a little bit through the midfield.
Nice little bit of byplay between Connor Budrick and Jack Ginnivan in the goal square. He does bring some different heat to the game. Back into the middle, clearance Collingwood. DeGoey straight onto the boot. Off the fist of the Gold Coast, it goes back outside 50. Tuke Miller can't pick it up. Pendlebury comes in. So does Matt Rowell for the Gold Coast. He overruns it. Now Caleb Graham, who's doing a little bit of ruck work as well, toes it forward. Chol puts on the electric speed, got the handball away. Then he got held. After he got the handball away, the umpire had whistled straight away. The crowd will love it. Oh, hang on. We are at a Gold Coast venue, but I'm hearing the boos. It's the Collingwood crowd, they just bring their own. Don't worry about that. Home game here for the Gold Coast at Carrara. And that decision roundly booed around the stadium. Mab Chol right in front of the grandstand commentary box. Laconic left foot looking for Levi. Off hands, it was roved by Murphy. He was buffeted off the ball, hacked forward for the Pies, and now they're going to load up again the Gold Coast.
Chol slaps it back here, back inside 50 through Flanders on the bounce, and dumped here is Roses, I beg your pardon, and the umpire said it was out of bounds first, so we'll throw it back in. 40 around from that left behind post at Gold Coast's attacking end. And the Magpie Army have a vast footprint, don't they, wherever they go. 3-1, 19 apiece here. Back in it comes. 23 gone to the opening term. Up in front, Darcy Cameron. They can work it beyond defensive 50 through Pendlebury. A neat kick up the line. Tumbling here, Jamie Elliott. In fact, it was Dacos. That nice, well-weighted pass to find Elliott. Elliott marks it right half back. Into the Roos. Up the commentary side. 2-on-2. A little too deep for Mason Cox. At the drop. Merging with the football. Hand pass was fired out by Holman. Work to do here for Roses. Paddles it to advantage, but he runs out of room. We'll throw it back in and in front of us. Between wing and half forward, Gold Coast attacking half of the ground. 3-1 apiece here. 24 gone to the opening term. Meanwhile, Geelong, Kane Turner's just knocked himself out, unfortunately, for Kangas fans. They get to score. Geelong 3-4-22.
Umpire throws it in right in front of the ABC Grandstand commentary box, and off the ruckman's hands it goes to Tuke Miller, who hooks it straight back at us. Out of bounds on the full. Will be a free kick to Collingwood, right half back. It'll go to Steele side bottom. Early doors, we've got 6 possessions each for the Gold Coast, Noah Anderson and Matthew Rowell, and 6 for Will Hoskin-Elliott for Collingwood as side bottom goes long towards the wing. Ill-directed onto the logo. Bowes takes the mark. Running for him was Big Sam Collins, received the handball, then got the fend away, got the ball off to Tuke Miller. Inside 50 now, chance for the Gold Coast with Rankin. Dances around his opponent in Murphy, puts it on the right shoe and then kicks it wide for one behind. 20-19, 1 point the margin, the Gold Coast lead, 24 gone.
He's got some wheels there, hasn't he?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
He turned his opponent inside out.
Darcy Moore buys some space in the right back pocket. Floats the hand pass forward here for Noble. Dicey effort here, and it wasn't the preferred option here this time. Nick Dacos runs out of space and he finds a salvation of the boundary line. So we'll throw it back in. 65 around from the Gold Coast goal. Scoreboard end of Carrara.
Always a good indication when there's a quick point, how you defend. And that's what the Gold Coast Suns did then. They've been able to hold Collingwood inside their forward 50.
Back in it comes. It's Caleb Graham doing the right work here for the Suns against Darcy Cameron. At the drop, hand pass worked away by Holman. Trying to trap it here is Ainsworth. Wrapped up by Chris. Ball is locked in there. The umpire hovering, and he will say, let's ball it up. 30 out from the Gold Coast goal. It's they who lead 3-2-20. Collingwood 3-1-19. 25 and a half play in the opening quarter.
Umpire's holding the ball aloft here, and he's just spotted something he didn't like, and it was some blood on Caleb Graham's face. So blood rule. So the fill-in ruckman is going to saunter off, and while he's doing that, there's going to be a raft of changes go with him. So you see young Oyer come off the field as well. He'll be replaced, and Jared Witts comes on for Caleb Graham. So that's a win for the Gold Coast with the stoppage in the left forward pocket, Jeff White.
Yeah, well, Marbio Chol, so line him up in the forward line there for him.
Well, it makes the tall timber even more effective perhaps for the Gold Coast. Chol in the ruck. It was well done by Cameron to get it down. Pendlebury half smothered. Ball ends up with Holman. They're out to the arc of 50. There's a whistle on play. I think it was Noah Anderson got dealt with and illegally on the paint of 50 by Sidebottom it was. So Noah Anderson, I think this would be right on the edge of his distance. He'd have to go wide of the mark and use the stand rule to big effect here, boys.
Yeah, I reckon he'll go line and then deviate a little bit. I reckon it's in his range.
It's in his wheelhouse?
Definitely.
So Noah Anderson, the number 2 draft pick from 2019. Disposal number 7 for him. From 50, he curls around. It's a low thumping kick, but to the goal square, off hands over the goal line for another behind. 21 plays 19. The Coast by 2 points against Collingwood. 27 gone first term.
Good kick out. Nick Dacos has to find Trey Rusco, the lad from East Fremantle. Floats the hand pass forward now. Dacos beyond defensive. 50 got there in no time at all. And he can go and find brother Josh. Coming back infield now for the skipper, Pendlebury's beaten to the football this time. Pressure came from Anderson, I beg your pardon. In a 2-on-2 now, the ball is locked into. The umpire will ball it up at right half forward for Gold Coast. Around the grounds, Virginia Park, North Melbourne have kicked their first goal. 1 straight 6, they trail Geelong 3-5-23. Late stages first quarter there. Back underway here at Carrara, where it's the Suns by 2. Socked forward, Swallow, their co-captain. Lobs it high inside forward 50. Rankin wants the crumbs. It's rolled off a couple of fists now, and Sidebottom gets there for the Pies and rushes it through for a behind. Gold Coast 3-4-22. The Pies are 3-1-19. 28 now played in the opening term on the Gold Coast.
So Collingwood bring the ball back in through Dacos. Direct kick straight up the middle. Found, for goodness sake, it was Moore who gave it off to Maynard, who went straight down the middle and found his Collingwood teammate in Jordan De Goey, who went straight down the corridor and received a beautiful pass. It was just coast-to-coast footy, and that was too easy. It was almost like a training drill.
Just over the back, that you get that spread over the back. It's where good foot skills come into play. Great kick from the half-back line. And the ability to take the space in front of him as well from Maynard.
Taylor Adams, actually, who took the ball 30 metres out directly in front. And he hits the post. Sucked the air out of the stadium there for a moment. It looked good, but then hit the post 2/3 of the way up. 22 plays 20. It's a 2-point margin, the Gold Coast lead.
Butterick, kick out duties. Looks at the right-hand side of the paddock. Comes left, commentary side, beyond defensive 50, big roost beyond the arc. Out the back here is John Noble, traps it for the Pies, goes back inside, forward 50, Elliott. What separation. And he takes a simple chest mark, 30 out on the angle in the right forward pocket.
He just read that a lot quicker than Spriggsy, just hit his opponent. I think a Budrick again, deep in there, hit him, dropped, just left the space for him to run into, and an easy chest mark.
He had the first opportunity of the night, Jamie Elliott, for the Pies. He missed that. Here he is. Late in this opening term, Elliott crosses 50, connects from 35 and misses near side. It's just squeezed through for a minor score. Collingwood 3-3-21. Gold Coast 3-4-22. Approaching the half-hour mark here at Carrara on ABC Sport. This is Grandstand AFL.
Just a little bit of a buzz around the crowd here. They expected a close game, and they've got a beauty as the ball comes towards the commentary wing. It was Chol spoiled by Quainer. Now several players get involved. It's good tackling efforts all round. Umpires coming in and saying, let's separate for a moment, boys, as Butterick picks himself up. Lipinski draws himself away from it. Umpire will walk in, throw it up between the two ruckmen, and again it's a large crowd. Cameron gets tackled by Miller. The ball escapes out the back. Collins kicks it forward. Rankin off his hands. Noble roves beautifully. Got the handball into Dacos, but he was under enormous pressure. It lands with Casbolt. Handball Rowell inside 50 off the right foot. Now a race in two. Here's Cheetahs versus Trey. Rusco did beautifully. Turned around onto his right foot and drilled it towards Moore. Beautiful defensive play by Rusco.
Moore can slow things down here for the Pies. Late in the opening term. Drives it long beyond defensive 50, out to a 2-on-2. Coming late, Jared Witts just thumps it with his fist out over the boundary line for a throw-in between wing and half forward. Gold Coast attacking end as the seconds tick down to quarter time. It's the Suns who lead by just the 1 point. Umpire heaves it back in. Rucks go to it. Witts, good use of the body this time on Cameron. Ball in dispute though. Pendlebury gets there first. Sockers out into space on the commentary wing. Butterick ragdoll this time by McCreary. And the ball goes with him out of bounds for a throw-in. Again, on the members' side of Carrara Stadium. It's the Gold Coast Suns here by 1 point, 31.5 played.
That was a great tackle. Just also a nice bit of restraint at the end and not to follow through with it. Ball thrown in. Well done by Cameron over the top of Witts, but player underneath that is not going anywhere. DeGoey tackled heavily into the ground. Umpire will throw it up again. Witts dealt with by Cameron. Ball hits the deck in front of them. Jack Bowes picks it up, propels it forward by foot. Now well done Holman to trap it. He's under pressure from Dacos, and that affected the handball. Enter Steele side bottom, toes it off the deck. Goes towards right half forward. Butterick couldn't pick it up. It's loose now. Collingwood with a chance. Myercheck. Handball to Jamie Elliott. He lowered the eyes and hit Henry with a pass. Oh, he just juggled it. And it barely went the 15-2, but Ollie Henry will have a ping at goal from about 20 metres right on the siren.
He does good foot skills and awareness by Elliott. He was actually going onto his left foot, so he needed to do the little chip kick.
So Ollie Henry has been a big pickup for them, for Collingwood. 19-year-old, he's already got one. Just put a bit of pressure on him and the crowd enjoyed that as he missed. So it's all tied up at quarter time. 3-4-22 apiece here at Carrara.
How far do you reckon that kick travel?
At 25 metres, if that. Wasn't the best, was it?
For the Pies, Jack Ginnivan has two. Ollie Henry does still only have one. He had his second attempt a short time ago and missed. So that's their goal kickers for the Gold Coast Suns. One each to Chol, to Casbolt, and to one of our two debutants tonight, Huago Paul Oya, the Papua New Guinean. What a moment that was for his first kick and first goal in AFL footy, the late inclusion tonight. Scores level 3-4, 22 apiece. Quarter time at Carrara on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital and News Radio. This is Grandstand AFL.
New from ABC Digital and DVD.
From the makers of Line of Duty comes a thrilling new crime series, Trigger Point.
Expert 1, what's your location?
As terrorists threaten London,
You need to hurry!
30 seconds.
an elite bomb squad risk their lives to counter the attacks.
They know call-out times, how we think, how we move, everything.
Realise the bombers could be here, watching every move we make.
Trigger Point, out now on digital and DVD. For details, visit abc.net.au/shop.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Suns move it quickly here across the outer wing. Mark to sport of halfway. Swallow inside forward. 50 finds the chest of Mabior Chol. Connects from 40. Straight over the goal umpire's hat. The Suns have the first.
Rode by Ainsworth. Here he is. Oya. First touch in footy. And it's a goal. Fairy tale. Away go Paul Oya. The first Papua New Guinean to come through the development system. First touch. Oh, that is brilliant. Collins picks it up off the deck. Handball indiscriminate. Ginnivan has a crack. And Ginnivan kicks a goal. He had a split second to deal with that. And a great little snap on the left.
Finds Adams inside 50 by hand. He can kick up the line. Ginnivan takes the mark. Just up above the boundary line. The umpire has played it. not far from where he kicked that last goal on the run a moment ago. It's for back-to-back goals for Collingwood, and Jack Ginnivan crosses the boundary line to kick, brings it back superbly. Oh, he's a star.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Scores level at Carrara, 3-4-22 apiece. The Gold Coast Suns and Collingwood. You're with Brett Sprigg, Michael Price, Jeff White, Matthew Primus and Zane Bojack on the boundary. Meanwhile, around the grounds, Kidney Park, quarter time there. North Melbourne having kicked 3 goals in a row to close the gap on Geelong. It's 3-5-23 the Cats. The Kangas are 3-1-19. You can find an ABC grandstand call of that on the AFL app, so you get your choice of John Noble here or David Noble there. Take your pick. A couple of your texts welcome. 0437 774 774. Go the Pies from Dave the Truckee in Parks, New South Wales. On my way to Brisbane again. Good on you, Dave. And just on what Zane was saying, Aussie Rules is the number 2 sport in PNG behind Rugby League, and they won the most AFL International Cups, says Mikey from Bendigo. Well, that's good to know, Mikey. Appreciate your correspondence. As always, 0437 774 774. While we get the thoughts of our experts, Jeff White and Matthew Primus on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, plenty of energy in that first quarter. I thought the tackling on both sides was outstanding. Just the ability to hold in, chase down, one-on-one. Particularly that last one in the last quarter was going inside forward 50 from Collingwood. But yeah, just both sides are really attacking. I think the small forwards are up and about from both sides. They're competing. They're trying to go through the middle. I think it's a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment with both sides trying to own the corridor, and we saw that with the connection from the back line for Collingwood through Maynard breaking the lines and through the defence. The ability to go really quick, Collingwood is just what they've just improved on so much since last year, and the ability of the foot skills as well. Cripps, Maynard, Steele and Pendlebury, you know what you're going to get from them. So that's where the Suns have got to really turn, and that's where those long points that I was saying it before, that fast points, ability to defend, get on, turn your head and be defensive is what the Suns got to try and do.
Yeah, those kick-ins have certainly hurt them, haven't they? Those quick ones. But I reckon apart from that, they've defended the Pies' counter-attack pretty good. It's just been a balance of which team can get the ball inside 50 and then hold it in there. I reckon for the first 10 minutes, the Suns were good at that. Looked like scoring at will, and then the Pies, the last 10 minutes, were able to put a lot of the Suns' backs under pressure and get a lot of repeat inside 50. So an arm wrestle in that regard, and once again, it comes down to your dominance in the centre bouncing through the middle of the ground. But both forward lines, especially their smalls, Whitey, look like they're going to be in for a pretty good night with shots on goal. So whichever team can get the dominant inside 50s, where I think the Pies are +4 at the moment, 16, that's a pretty good number for them. So something to keep an eye on for the Suns.
The Suns break first from their huddle. The Pies held for a bit longer by Craig McRae. Of course, they are chasing 6 straight wins tonight. They've won 7 of their past 8 against the Gold Coast, including their past 3 occasions here at Carrara. A few numbers to quarter time. Thank you, Michael Price.
The Gold Coast Suns, Noah Anderson with 8 disposals. Holman and Rao with 7 apiece, and Bose Swallow with 6 apiece. Now at Collingwood, Nick Dacos 8, Steele Sidebottom 7. But having a look at the general stats, the disposals are basically the same, with the Gold Coast +2. Contested possessions, the Gold Coast are +7. Clearances +2 to the Gold Coast, fairly even. As we've said, the inside 50s, the Gold Coast are trailing Collingwood 16-12, and both using it at around about 42-43% efficiency for inside 50.
3-4-22 apiece. That's all we can ask for. A tight opening term. What does quarter number 2 have in store for us here at Carrara? Back underway we go. Mason Cox opposed to Jared Witts. Down to go. He dumped here in the Tuke Miller tackle, and the umpire will ball it up. In the spotlight on Jordan Nagoe. In the past few weeks, Rowell will clear here for the Suns. Wobbly ball inside forward 50. Casbolt in the contest with Moore, but Moore gets separation. Good use of the body. Flares it wide here. Wastes no time to Josh Dacos. Draws the man forward. Kicks over the top here. Gets it back from Hoskin Elliott. Now goes to find his brother Nick. He kicks up the line towards half forward. Jamie Elliott up in front of Lemons. They chase it to the boundary line, and we will throw it back in. 65 around from Collingwood's attacking goal at the scoreboard end of Carrara, where it's still 3-4-22 apiece. Early stages, second term.
Saw the Collingwood backs in mark the ball, the first intercept from one of their tools in Moore, and how quickly they rebounded. Something the Suns got to be aware of.
Throwing it right half forward, Mason Cox in the front position, but it's taken by Miller. Just hoiks it back to Markov from a standing start. He kicks it to the wing well. Done by Roses, who gathered and shot a handball into the path of Ainsworth. Quainer worried him off it, but it bounced awkwardly. Now Rankin enters the fray, picks it up, kicks it inside 50, good vision. Oh, but Levi Casbolt actually bumped Ellis off the ball. They mucked it up between them. Collingwood exit now. Side bottom gives it to Pendlebury. How's that for experience? Pendlebury tumbles it to the commentary wing. Myercheck taps it down. It's with Miller. Gold Coast have taken it away now. Markov will escape the clutches of De Goey.
Kick though, a little untidy. Skids through the centre circles here for David Swallow. Gets a hand pass back to his co-skipper in Witt. Still alive here. Markov off to Roses. Tumbles a kick towards half forward. Holman tries to trap it now. Pressure though from Maynard. Great ring of the footy from Maynard. Shares it with Noble. Comes on the 45 to Cameron. Pressure coming late there from Graham. Ball in dispute on the outer wing. One away here by the Pies and Nick Dacos. Back to Noble. And now Dacos kicks again up the line. Marking his forward of the ring. Hoskin Elliott lays off the hand pass. They go inside forward 50. Josh Dacos to find Myercheck. Up in front though was Collins. Myercheck tries to slap it free in the pocket. Now gathers, playing tunnel ball in the pocket now. It comes out for Markov of the Suns and he can clear back toward the 50. Only as far though as Pendlebury. And the Collingwood skipper marks 45 out, has options aplenty inside 50, and the first of those presenting is Josh Dacos. He's 40 out, slightly right of centre.
Poor kick from Markov then, wasn't it? A hack kick, you've got to come wide, don't you, wide? You can't kick it back down the middle because that's normally where the numbers are and put you under the pump.
But it just shows, like, that play there just typifies what the scoreboard is at the moment. It is an arm wrestle. It is so even. Defensive side from both sides is really, really awesome at the moment.
No change to our quarter time score. Josh Dacos can change that. He connects from 45 right to the line all the way. And the Pies go back ahead. Josh Dacos joins the party. 4-4-28. The Gold Coast Suns are 3-4-22. 3.5 played second term. ABC Sport, this is Grandstand AFL.
Just a few too many handballs by the Suns through the middle of the ground there. They had 6 or 7 in a row when they just needed to get it on the boot because they're looking dangerous ahead of the ball. They just overdid it, which invited Collingwood's tackle pressure, and out of that tackle pressure they were able to go inside 50 of that. So through the middle of the ground, I reckon the message would come out just to get the ball on boot once you've had 1 or 2 handballs.
You can see what they were trying to do. They were certainly trying to link up, trying to get that 45. But Collingwood's defence was outstanding. That's what resulted in the turnover.
And Nick Dacos, 11 disposals so far. He's operating at 100% kicking efficiency. Hard to get any better than that. Pies by a goal. Crowd fizzing at Carrara. Umpire with a good bounce. Mason Cox gets it down now to Anderson for the Gold Coast, who gives it to Rowell. He kicks it to right half forward. Quainer did beautifully. Fisted the ball away and then went and gathered it himself. He got around Roses, got it onto his right boot. Witts outpointed Cox physically, then fisted it to ground. Gold Coast turnover at ground level. Anderson kicks it, but then the Pies cut it off at half back.
Now slick ball used by hand. Here comes Sidebottom, now wide to Noble. He can kick to find Pendlebury. On that left peg up the commentary side, Myercheck back in space. It bounced inside forward 50. He comes inboard now to find Chris, tumbling to his left. Wasn't probably his preferred or first option, but it worked out okay for the Pies. Myercheck connects with Crisp, and he's marked here 35 out in a 45-degree angle.
Yes, Breezy, it's one of those ones, you know, in the modern game where the player's always told to come forward to defend. Suns backman came off his opponent to come and defend there, but he was never going to get to it. So it was a suicide press forward, which then gave the easy kick over the top.
Jack Chris, the Middleford lad, started his career in Queensland, of course, with the Brisbane Lions. And he's sending it across the face, and it's just slapped through for a minor score by Jared Witts on the behind line. So it's the Magpies 4-5-29, Gold Coast 3-4-22. They play quickly here, the Gold Coast Suns.
Long kick towards half back. It went through the hands of Ellis, and there was a push. It was Mab Chol who was nudged out of it in that marking contest. He'll take the free kick 70 metres from his defensive goal at right half back. He's looking forward, not a lot of options moving. Umpire says, would you like to get on with it, Mab? He says, certainly, sir. The left foot. It's a long one. Cox bodied out of it by Casbolt at the back of the pack.
Casbolt.
So that was the block in the air there. I called him bodied out of it, but do you think that's fair enough as a block there, Whitey and Matt?
Well, he didn't put his hands up, so it looks easier for the umpire to make the decision.
The newly minted Australian citizen, Mason Cox, comes back inside defensive 50. Dicey kick from Murphy. Tries to find Maynard. Coming late, Swallow makes a contest. Maynard parries it back out here for the Pies. Murphy shrugs his way out of a tackle. Hand pass out in space. Finds the boundary line. The umpire's going to say, let's throw it back in. You can hear the rise of the crowd chasing deliberate not to be. It's a 4:50 stoppage here for the Suns at the southern end of Carrara Stadium, where it's the Pies, though, who lead by 7 points. 7 gone second term.
Oh, yeah, you'd be hard-pressed to pay that, wouldn't you? Throw in, Cox versus Witts. Cox got there first, couldn't drag it in. Butterick got the handball away, and it's Pendlebury dragging his opponent over the line, and we'll get another throw in. 15 metres out from the point post at left forward pocket for the Coast. Every player on the paddock forward of halfway. Umpire's very dramatic down there. The boundary umpire holds on to it for a while. It's a shallow throw in. Roving Took Miller tackle as he kicks it forward. Rankin can't quite get there. It tumbles through for a behind.
They're looking dangerous, those forward stoppages. They're opening up the front door, and they've had a few shots on goal.
That disposal wasn't dangerous from Maynard. He opted to dummy the kick and then go by hand, and the hand pass went wide. No one of his teammates could see it coming, and it goes out of bounds for a throw-in.
There's that fast point. When they get a fast point, Collingwood want to go fast to bring it in. That's really good defence by the Suns again.
Magpies by 6. Back in it comes. Mason Cox up in front, bursting through Took Miller. Witts tries to slap boot to ball. A clean bowled side bottom. Worked forward here by Rankin, went straight up in the air though. Knocked away by Pendlebury, still alive here. It's just spiked back away here by Anderson. Only pair of hands to it though is Josh Dacos. Works a hand pass out. Lipinski up the boundary line now. He kicks beyond defensive 50. Contest there. Graham against Cameron. Loose man here is Butterick. Again, he's just ragdolled by McCrew. Not for the first time tonight. And he goes out of bounds for a throw-in between wing and half forward. Gold Coast attacking half of the ground. It's the Suns 3-5, the Magpies 4-5, 8.5 gone second term here at Carrara.
Yes, they are liking the size of Connor Butterick to throw him around, I think. Another shallow throw-in. Witts gets it down. McCreary can't control it for the Pies. DeGoey comes in, tries to shrug off a tackle. It does so, gets the handball away. Lipinski to the run of Crisp to the 50. Cameron to Adams. Adams lowers the eyes. Does he hit the target? He does. Myercheck in the goal square. Could have had a ping at goal. Was it a pass? Myercheck. Oh, he went to play on. Oh, 1.5 metres from goal. Myercheck went to play on, smothered through for a behind. That is the chance. Absolutely murdered. 30 placed 23, 7 points the margin. Should have been greater.
That's pressure. The atmosphere is lifting here on the Gold Coast. They go beyond defensive 50. The Suns. Someone was put down in back play. Cameron, that time by Ellis. Fair size differential. Cameron gets it back though for the Pies. Tumbles it inside forward 50. Going up, Ollie Henry needs an option by hand. Slung on the tackle and it goes out of bounds for a throw in. Ginnivan tries to keep it alive but nothing doing. Stoppage inside 50 here for the Pies. They lead by 7. Around the grounds in Geelong. The Cats are 5-6, 36. North Melbourne 4-1-25. Midway through the second term there. Aaron Hall, by the way, subbed out in the first term with a quad injury. So that is, speaking of players with some relevance in this part of the world, the former Sun himself. Back in it comes here. Magpies by 7 points. Took Miller cleverly in the tackle, just gets a kick away beyond defensive 50. Side bottom though, just chops the hand pass back inboard. Nick Dacos evades a tackle, spirals it back inside forward 50. Ginnivan! What a kick! And Ginnivan was positioned so well. Takes a clean mark, 35 out, angle slightly better than 45 degrees.
On the yap again, he's giving the young fellow a bit of a bath down there, one-on-ones.
But just the ability to see where the ball is going to land and create that space.
Look at his kick he's doing here. He's not even a traditional run-up.
Going to go the Irish style here, open up the angle from 40 out. Fans hate this, but he gives himself room to kick on the inside of the boot. Brings it back for goal number 3. Jack Ginnivan sparks the Pies again, and they're out to a game-high 13-point lead. 5-6 plays 3-5, 11 gone second quarter here on Grandstand AFL.
Just a wonderful position of the body to get Butterick out of the way, to know where to land of the ball. I think this is where the Suns, no disrespect to Butterick, I think sometimes as a leadership group down the back line, I reckon Lemon should go on to Ginnivan. just make a change. Just put a bit. At the moment, Ginnivan's going, hey, I've got you. I've kicked 3 goals on you. He'll go the yap. He's gone straight over to him now. They're wrestling to each other.
I tell you what, if he draws a free kick, he can't be criticised because he's just gone up and yapped to the guy, and the guy's just knocked him flat in his back.
Yeah. So this is where I reckon you make a bit of a change to the Suns. You go Lemons back. You get Lemons on him, just to change it up a little bit.
Well, Lemons is their best shutdown defender. I think so.
Yeah, that's why the change should be made.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, as Muhammad Ali once said, I can say what I want because I've got the talent to back it up. Ball bounced in the middle. Collingwood with another chance here. It's cut off by the Gold Coast. David Swallow tumbled it towards half forward. Quainer, could have been paid a double grabbing mark, but it came off hands and it came back to Flanders. Kicks it to the top of the square. Bodies fall down. Crowd want free kick. Mab Chol overruns it. Maynard survives for Collingwood. Handball out to Dacos. Josh, who tries to measure a sizzling pass to Henry. It went as a worm-burning pass over half back in front of him. We get a throw in. Boy, oh boy, the pace of this game has lifted to frenetic.
Magpies by 13. 5-6 plays 3-5. It's their biggest lead of the game. I should mention Gold Coast did lead by 18 points midway through the opening term, the first 3 goals of the game. Back in it comes. Witts down only as far as Josh Dacos. Out in space on the outer wing. Towed forward by Jamie Elliott. Butterick out to meet the football now. Pressure from Hoskin Elliott. In fact, it was Myercheck. Ball to be won now for players of both volitions. Socked forward now by Ellis. Skids its way to half forward. Rusco goes again here for the Pies. Miller puts a tackle here and the umpire will ball it up. Underneath all of that, handing the ball back to the umpire, it will be Taylor Adams. So forward, stoppage just forward of the bullseye here for the Gold Coast Suns, who trail by 13 points, 13 gone second term.
Comes off the ruckman's hands from Crisp, and immediately the umpire pulls a free kick to Jared Witts for the Gold Coast. He's got runners and he ignores them, lopes forward. It's a low left foot kick to Casbolt. It was actually a beautiful pass, went through his hands. Casbolt came out front and square for Anderson. Looping handball to Miller, who's tackled by Adams. He lets loose the ball. Henry from centre half back tumbles it. It's a 2-on-1. Ginnivan gets involved. Collins approaches, gathers ball, and they should be away here through Butterick. Great pass and finds his teammate in Oleg Markov. No, it's Cheetahs, sorry.
Cheetahs works it forward now. Lemons kicks for distance up inside forward 50. Chol Casbolt back with the flight, but the black and white jumper's there in defence, and Cameron takes the intercept at left full back for the Magpies. They lead by 13. Roughly halfway through this second term at Carrara. Short kick to find Rusco.
Done well here to slow them down. Suns defenders and mids.
Fast-paced game, as we've noted. Beyond defensive 50 here. Witts trying to get some separation down there on Ollie Henry. Ball to be won now. Henry parries it with advantage here for Adams. Under pressure, coughs it up. In goes Sidebottom. Underground hand pass back to Pendlebury. Again, those premiership teammates combine. Up the line they come. Myercheck back with the flight. Out to meet the footy though. Great defensive work by Butterick. Wins the footy in front of Elliott. Hand pass out to a teammate now. Swallow can clear. Back to the wing, but the mark is taken again by Darcy Cameron. And the Pies can start again from the commentary wing.
Yeah, Butterick did well there to chance his arm and left his man.
He had to go, didn't he? He had to make an impact.
Well, if he didn't, Ginnivan was out the back.
Ginnivan was into it, forward line by himself.
Collingwood now with Braden Maynard with the ball in front of the interchange gates and things being held up again. Umpire says move it along, so he does. It's a long left footer towards half forward. Cameron the target, fisted away by Collins. Broke open the contest over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in left half forward. Collingwood just look like they're developing the ascendancy here. They've got plus 20 in the disposals, just gathering the ball a lot more.
Loving the work of Darcy Cameron too. You think when Grundy comes back how much experience he's going to have.
Voice of Jeff White, Matt Primus on Grandstand AFL. Magpies by 13 here. Speaking of 13, there's Taylor Adams. Knocked out though only as far as the Gold Coast Suns, and dispossessed down there was Bowes. Goes back inside 50 here for the Magpies. At the drop, McCreary. In goes Crisp. Shrugs the Markov tackle. Hand pass out, only finds Butterick. He can try to clear. Tumbles a kick beyond defensive 50. Having work to do here, Roses. Lays off their hand pass. Great positioning here, Ainsworth. Gets some run going. Sends a kick inside forward 50. Chol is outnumbered, but it doesn't bother him. He clunks it 45 out. Plays on now beyond 50. Goes towards the top of the goal square, and it's, again, more black and white jumpers back there. Murphy knocks it through for a rush behind. The Suns 3-6-24, Collingwood 5-6-36. 16 minutes gone in this second term on Grandstand AFL.
Once again, Collingwood pull the trigger quickly from fullback when a point scored. Noble with the 1-2 handball out to Dacos, out to halfback, out to Murphy. Long kick down the outer wing. Bowes at the back position. That's a good, strong mark. Was that Henry in front? Gee, that's a good mark. Good hands from Ollie Henry. Lateral kick into the centre square. Oh, Darcy Cameron got rid of his man there in Ainsworth quite easily, but he was 2 foot taller. That was a little easier. He comes across the field to Noble. Noble to the run of Roscoe. He takes the ball 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left, and this is in his wheelhouse.
This is what I've really admired with Collingwood. I've watched him a few times this year. The ability to run from behind. That passage just there, switch it back in the middle. Great mark by Darcy Cameron, but the ability for those half-back flankers to run and create space for one another. It's outstanding footy.
So Roscoe from East Fremantle, take number 55 in the 2019 draft. Only his second game of the year. Right from the paint of 50, strikes it nicely, but he's hooked it to the left. One behind results. 37 plays 24. It's now 13 points the margin. 17 gone second quarter. Grandstand AFL, Gold Coast play on quickly.
Butterick with the kick out. In some space, Flanders, who was felled by McCreary. Either way, the mark is taken by Cheetahs, so Gold Coast keep possession from the commentary side wing. Up to a 2-on-3. Chol takes the chest mark, 55 out.
Free kick.
Wheels around now. It's going to be a free kick for a block going Collingwood's way.
The Suns forward just took his eyes off and blocked Moore, who's just trying to intercept the ball the whole time, and they got a bit too conscious of him then.
May even be Murphy who's got the free kick here for the Pies. Round the grounds in Geelong, the Cats 7-6-48, North Melbourne 4-1-25, so 23 points the margin there the home side's way. To Zane Bojack shortly. Noble here for the Pies. Brings it back on the 45 for Elliott. Second bite. Claims the mark. Works it off by hand to Adams. He can spread it wide now towards the opposite flank. Hoskin Elliott outnumbered though. Making the contest. Couple of teammates of the Suns spoil each other. Mychek gets back in space. And the entry is neat from Ginnivan. Mychek takes the chest mark. 40 out. 45-degree angle. An opportunity here again for the Pies, who lead by 13 points. Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, Jordan De Goey is an interested spectator here at the moment. He's been on the bench for a long time in the second quarter, and he keeps wanting to get up and get on the game, but so far he hasn't been rewarded by flight.
He had the first touch in the game, Jordan De Goey. There was a chorus of boos. I fancy there are probably plenty of Collingwood fans who are here to certainly support him as well, given the tumultuous couple of weeks. Mychek lines up the kick, and it's missing to the far side for a minor score. So Wayward here, the Pies. 5-8-38. The Gold Coast Suns 3-6-24. About to hit time on here in the second quarter on Grandstand AFL from Carrara.
Still 2 goals, 4-1 behind for the quarter in favour of Collingwood. Ballard has it at right half back for the Gold Coast. He's where the 50 intersects the boundary. Comes along the commentary wing. Chol was held back. Ball fisted away. Flanders roves nicely. Chips forward to right half forward, and that's Moore who comes over the top and belts it away from Casbolt over the boundary for a throw in.
It was a good win there by the Suns though, because they were outnumbered. Casbolt was 1-on-3, so to get it to the ground and get a stop play was a win for him.
Collingwood now plus 24 in disposals.
Back in it comes. Cameron snatches it out of the ruck. Hurries it out to the wing. Crashing the pack. Henry at the drop though. Graham for the Suns just sends it back from whence it came. Out to the one-on-one. Holman tries to come in from behind on Darcy Cameron. Comes back now to the wing. Mychek follows up. Gathers at ground level. Now just kicks on the half volley for Adams. Get away though from Holman. Great tackle, the umpire says, holding the ball. So from the logo commentary side, the Suns can start their on again. They trail by 14 points. Comes wide to Flanders. Draws the player. Now Markov off a step. Tumbles it high inside forward 50. Quaynor, the loose man, floats across the pack and takes the mark in the left back pocket. Collingwood keeps a 14-point lead here. 21 gone the second term.
Hasn't he developed as a defender, Isaac Quaynor?
Yeah, he's a beauty, isn't he?
He's got some skills. uses the right foot this time to kick to the commentary wing. Cameron, fisted away by Collins yet again. But it's going to win out for Collingwood. Here's Maynard under pressure from Holman. Kicks it to a 3-on-1. Gold Coast have to win that. They had the advantage. Caleb Graham fists it forward. Side bottom in the way. And he's tackled. Oh, he actually shrugged Holman off and kept going. I was about to say, when you're tackled by Nick Holman, you stay tackled. But not then. Quainer, he's at half back. He turns the ball over. Oya, handball Rankin. Rankin! Oh, my goodness! Isaac Rankin. There's the X factor. 5-8-38 plays 4-6-30. What a special goal. 8 points the margin. 22 gone. Second term grandstand AFL.
Well, a goal out of nothing, really. The Pies had in control of that ball. Side bottom thought he was going to go out of bounds and then was able to get out of the tackle. But just once again, overuse of a bit of a handball by the Pies. The Suns' pressure forced them backwards and backwards and backwards, and then an outstanding finish from a really classy small forward.
He had no room to move, heading towards the boundary line. Outstanding finish.
It's a bit of the way this round's gone with teams that have been inaccurate or haven't taken their chances inside forward 50. The Bulldogs Thursday night against Brizzy, Sydney today, Carlton last night. The Collingwood have dominated this quarter with shots on goals and inside 50s, but haven't hit it enough on the scoreboard.
I think the difference too is that Collingwood's ability to win, to get that intercept marks on a half back line. The Suns are trying to punch it. They've got to take possession. Got to mark it.
Collingwood by 8. Back in the middle, Miller was put down here in the Degoe tackle, but the kick away. They on the bounce for Ellis. Hand pass out to no one in particular. Sockered forward by McCreary. He's almost missed it completely. Chasing the footy side bottom. Getting there first, though, Bowes for the Suns, and his hand pass goes out of bounds, and the umpire will throw it back in. So a stoppage on the wing. Margin just 8 points. Meanwhile in Geelong, the Cats 7-8-50, North Melbourne 4-1-25. Time on second term there. That game running concurrently with this one. Adams, hand pass picked off by Swallow for the Suns. Tumbles it back here towards Scholl. Beaten to it though by Rusco. The Pies get it back from just forward of left half back. Side bottom, back here for Murphy. Shrugs the tackle and he sprays the kick out of bounds on the full. So Gold Coast ball from the wing commentary side. They trail by 8 points here.
Once again, a few too many handballs and just put them under pressure again.
Yeah.
So Brandon Ellis, dual premiership player with Richmond, plays on the commentary wing, kicks it the right half forward. Good body work from Casbolt at the back. Roses, electric pace on the boundary. The left foot to the goal square. Oh, picked up by Anderson. Towed through. That's the pace that can kill you in a forward line. 5-8-38 plays 5-6-36. 2 points the margin. Late in the second quarter, game back on.
Well, it's similar to those first 15 minutes, Whitey, of the first quarter. The Suns' small forwards looked like their speed was too much for the Pies to handle, but since then they've been able to handle them really well by intercepting the ball. They're tall backs, but on that occasion the ball came to ground and the Suns' forwards are too crafty and too quick.
What about a kick from Roses, though? Just perfect,
beautiful
wasn't it?
Position, yep.
Off the SMS, 0437 774 774. SA in Bayswater, WA. Loving the special comments tonight. Really informative. Neutral, but hoping for a Gold Coast win. Call was pretty good too. Thank you, SA. Joining the call says Mark in Adelaide. I thought rugby union would be a bigger sport in PNG than league. I had a look. To be fair, it's actually not. According to what I've seen here, rugby league is huge. I called the PNG Kumals game last week against Fiji. They won that game. But yes, they have like the most number of players. Like the ranking-wise, they're actually probably on par, if not ahead of rugby union in popularity in PNG. Unbelievable. Restart back in the middle. Socket away here by Swallow. Waiting for a clearance now. Hand pass fight out by Holman. Now Anderson's kick smothered. Bounces out to the wing. They go again here, the Suns. Through Ainsworth. High inside forward 50. Looking for a contest. Casbolt was beaten through the air. At the drop now Mason Cox. His kick's a turnover straight to Jared Witts. They go forward of halfway again. Bowes this time on the entry and Chol was beaten up in front. It was the mark taken down there by Murphy. And Murphy in the right back pocket has it for the Pies. They lead by 2 points here, 25 gone second term.
Nathan Murphy, good job against Chol there. Long kick towards the outer wing. A body hits the deck and umpire whistles play. It's going to be a Collingwood free kick. It'll go to Mason Cox for a hold. He chips it forward. Nick Dacos receives on the outer side. 19th disposal as he goes down the outer wing. He finds Hoskin Elliott just slowing play up in front of what is a predominantly Collingwood area there on the Nerang River wing. He goes to half forward. Myercheck was nudged into his player in front. Turnover now. Gold Coast with the ball. Ballard, Anderson now by foot. Cut off again by Nick Dacos. Disposal 20 coming up.
The first half he's had. Short kick finds brother Josh, who kicked the first goal of this second term. Call to play on now. Josh Dacos, keeping them out on the mark, so it's play on the half volley for Hoskin Elliott anyway. Lays off the hand pass here to Nick Dacos, almost run down, gets his kick away, up inside forward 50. At ground level, Ellis now mops up in defence for the Suns, and now it's a hot footy locked in there. The umpire will ball up, 20 out from the Magpies goal scoreboard end. Collingwood here by 2 points, 27 gone, quarter number 2 here on Grandstand AFL.
So the umpire will just throw it up. Witts versus Cameron. Brandon Ellis at ground level, nudged off it by Sidebottom, who picks it up, handball Lipinski. It's a tight kick to the top of the square, and Collins gets a hand to it just in time. Took it over the boundary line. It'll be a throw-in the right forward pocket for Collingwood. They lead by a couple of points. Got about a minute and a half to go of this quarter. It's been a good one so far.
Umpire gets set, throws it back in. Witts against Mason Cox. Cox can't gather. DeGoey held out of it by Rowell. Socket here, straight to Hoskin Elliott. Just lobs it across the goal mouth here. Myercheck gets set, and now Markov just punches it through for a rush behind. Magpies by 3 points now, 28 gone second term. Kick out taken quickly.
Yeah, both teams just really taking it quickly after a behind. They're trying to get that loose man. It comes to the commentary wing. Quainer did beautifully against Rankin. Gathered, got a handball away. Made it hard for his teammate though at ground level. Miller enters for the Gold Coast. He's buffeted off it. Collingwood with another chance. Pendlebury, sublime. Went through tackles with a blind turn. Got the handball away. Was cut off by Rowell. He was in turn there tackled. And it was Pendlebury, the veteran, who came through with a tackle. Two vital bits of play. With less than a minute to go. Handball to Goey. He gets to 50, the outside of the right boot. Cox that went through his hands at ground level. Dacos does what Josh Dacos does. He kicks his second. Oh boy, a hot game. 6-9-45 the Pies. 5-6-36 the Gold Coast. 9 points the margin. Very late in the second term, Grandstand AFL.
What about that one-on-one possessions on the wing here? Took Miller's coming off too. Looked like he caught maybe a knee in the back. He's a little bit sore, a bit late to get up, but Pendlebury's work there and effort, second effort, ability to get the ball off the ground, then also chase down tackle was outstanding.
He's ageless, isn't he? He's Scott Pendlebury. Class doesn't diminish. It might slow down a tad, but it doesn't diminish.
Going around again next year. So he's the all-time game record holder anyway, 348th game tonight, and he's got next year as well, 2023. So what a career he's had. Scott Pendlebury, 5-time best and fairest, 6-time All-Australian. From the restart here, the Suns win the clearance through Swallow. It's marked though here by Nick Dacos. He marks at centre-half back for the Pies. Time for one more perhaps late in this opening half. We'll get down to Zane Bojack shortly. Hoskin Elliott marks on the wing. Works it forward by foot to Murphy. Murphy comes laterally here, back to Nick Dacos. Possession number 22 for him, and that will be the half-time siren. So Collingwood with some momentum. Led at one stage by 13 points in that second term. It's a 9-point half-time lead the visitors' way. 6-9-45. Plays Gold Coast 5-6-36. The goal kickers so far, Josh Dacos kicked both of his in that second term, but Jack Ginnivan has 3 and Ollie Henry has the other for the Pies. Meanwhile, for the Gold Coast Suns, their 5 goals have come through Mabior Chol, Noah Anderson, Isaac Rankin. It was a beauty, and one text correspondent says add that to the Rankin file. 0437774774 Levi Casbolt and Huago Paul Oya, one of their debutantes tonight. Very quickly, Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, Tuke Miller came off, guys, and went straight down the race with the physio. I think they're going to try and take advantage of the fact that we were almost about to go to half-time, but he didn't look too encumbered, but definitely getting some physio during this break.
Thank you, Zano. We'll keep an eye on that throughout the break. Meanwhile, half-time, can you park around the grounds there? Geelong 8-8-56. North Melbourne 4-1-25. Here it's with Matthew Primus and Jeff White, our experts on Grandstand AFL. The Pies by 9 points.
Well, a really interesting quarter, I thought, that one. I thought, the Suns are winning contested possession and winning clearances, and for that, when they do that, they win every game this year. So there's 7 games they've won, they've dominated in those statistics, but they've only had the same amount of inside 50s. So I reckon the Pies are just sitting off them a little bit, happy for them to win that first inside possession, but putting pressure on them when it flicks out. Pies have got the numbers there. They're plus 34 in outside ball, which is their handball link-up, their run, which is giving them a lot of inside 50s and giving them better or more dominant and clearer inside 50s rather than the Suns who are just banging it in. So a really interesting tactic to see how that goes, because at the moment, if that contested possession works out, that might be like plus 20 to the Suns at the end of the game, and normally that means a win. So we'll see if the Pies try and even that up or they keep that balance of an inside and outside out, and both teams are able to manufacture goals a little bit towards the end there out of nothing, but the Pies look a little bit the classier team through the middle of the ground and in their forward 50, but we know the Suns can certainly hang around and their second halves are very good.
Yeah, I just reckon the strength of Collingwood at the moment is the ability to win under the half-back line. They've got Quainer, they've got Murphy, they've got Moore. They're marking the ball, whereas when it's going to the Suns' back line, they're just happy to let Collins and I think a few times their Wits are just to punch it. Makes a big difference, because you know that when they're going to mark it, you've got the likes of Dacos, you've got the likes of Steele Sidebottom, you've got these guys that are spreading out to the wings and they're creating that spread and that run and overlap, which has been really potent. It's the ability to connect. That's what Collingwood's really favouring at the moment. There was a play there and halfway through that second quarter where Mychek got onto an inside forward 50, but there was the flow-on effect. It was the mark that Moore took on the half-back line. So that's where I reckon the Suns got to tidy up. I know there's a big emphasis on Marvio Chol and Casbolt to bring it to ground, but they've got to work in tandem and work for each other and allow these small forwards like the Rankins and the Roses to get the ability, and that's where Collingwood's cutting them up at the moment.
I agree. Well, I reckon that's what the Collingwood are trying to just sit off the Suns' mids and then put pressure on any of their outside balls, so it's junk kicks coming forward, which allows Murphy and Moore and those guys to intercept. I think they've had 13 intercepts in their back 50, the Pies have, and they get a lot of the counter-attack, but then it stops the Suns being able to pin them in, which is what they rely on to get a lot of their score out. So, tactically wise, I think it advantage a little bit to the Pies, about a real interesting second half coming up.
But it's a great game. Overall, awesome game. High standard, high quality, contested footy, uncontested footy. Both sides are really clean below their knees. But just that spread from Collingwood is so efficient at the moment. They're just spreading on the 45. They're getting that overlap. The ability to cut up the Suns' defence is really powerful at the moment.
Spoke about what an important game this was in potentially shaping the 8, and so far it hasn't disappointed. So Collingwood by 9 points at the half. Thanks, Whitey. Thanks, Matt. And we'll have the second half coming up here very shortly. Meanwhile, half-time in Geelong, the Cats 8-8-56, North Melbourne 4-1-25. Earlier in Adelaide, the Demons beat the Crows by 29 points, and at the MCG, Essendon over the Sydney Swans 15-5-95 to 12-14-86. More on that all coming up, as well as around the grounds across the other sports shortly. But right now it's time for us to head to the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. The New South Wales State Emergency Service says communities along the Hawkesbury-Nepean River should prepare for an evacuation due to severe weather. Flash flooding, torrential rain and damaging winds are forecast along the New South Wales Central Coast, but the Hawkesbury-Nepean is considered especially vulnerable. Commissioner Carleen York says people should pack an emergency kit containing items including ID, clothing and equipment.
If you get an evacuation order, I plead with you to leave the premises, grab your emergency kit and go to a place of safety. And as stated, if you know that you are usually affected, you want to leave before the evacuation order, please feel free to do so.
And the State Emergency Service in New South Wales is sending text messages to about 500,000 people living along Sydney's Hawkesbury-Nepean River, warning them they might need to evacuate. The alert asks people in low-lying areas to monitor weather conditions, arrange accommodation and avoid driving on flooded roads. A senior Victorian government minister says the upcoming state election is not influencing decisions surrounding COVID-19 restrictions. It comes after Queensland's chief health officer said there's an increasing pressure nationally to return to a mask mandate. The Victorian government says it's not planning to mandate masks despite the significant number of COVID-19 related deaths, new cases and the increasing pressure on the healthcare system. Governor Minister Lily D'Ambrosio says they're following the health advice and the November election has nothing to do with it.
Absolutely not, no. Health is too important. We're talking about life and death here. We know what it's like to have COVID embedded in our community, and everything this government has ever done is follow the science and the health advice.
Today, Australia recorded 54 COVID-19 deaths. 13 people died in Victoria. The governor of the U.S. state of New York, Kathy Hochul, has echoed President Joe Biden's calls for voters to elect more Democrat senators in November in order to protect abortion rights. It follows the Supreme Court decision that individual states have the power to decide on abortion, reversing a decision from 1973. Mr. Biden told a virtual meeting of Democrat governors that unless the party has control of the Senate, the Supreme Court could be poised to wipe out more American rights. Ms. Hochul says women in her state are terrified.
This is a frightening time for women all across our nation. A lot of fear and anxiety out there, and I hear it from women all across the state, or they come up to me at subway stops in New York City, at farmers markets. Literally young women who never even had to think about this right are coming up and putting their arms around my neck and sobbing. So there is such stress out there.
Meanwhile, the U.S. state of New York has enacted new gun laws to tighten controls despite a recent ruling by the Supreme Court. Guns will be banned from many public places, including New York's Times Square, and gun license applicants will have to prove their shooting proficiency and turn over social media accounts so officials can verify their character and conduct. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has affirmed the stance taken by the legislature. And police have arrested a man in New York City over the fatal shooting of a woman as she pushed her infant child in a pram. Police say the suspect shot Azalea Johnson in the head while she was pushing her 3-month-old child in Manhattan's Upper East Side. The child was unharmed. A U.S. media outlet's reporting the suspect was a former boyfriend of the woman. The U.S. will provide Ukraine with $1.2 billion in new military aid, including new surface-to-air missile systems and counter-artillery radars to respond to Russia's heavy reliance on long-range strikes in the war. Russia's fired dozens of missiles across Ukraine in recent days, including an overnight strike on a residential area in Odessa that's killed at least 21 people. The U.S. now committed almost $13 billion in weapons and military training to Ukraine. Officials in India say 26 bodies have been recovered following the latest flooding to hit the country's northeast. More rain, landslides and falling boulders are hampering rescuers at the scene of a mudslide that's wiped out a railway construction site. They say there's little hope of finding survivors among the 37 people who remain missing. And a Virgin rocket carrying U.S. military satellites has lifted off from a spaceport in Southern California. It released the satellites over the Pacific Ocean. Virgin sent to launch 2 more satellites later this year to test radio signal monitoring for a joint project between the UK's Ministry of Defence and the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office. ABC News.
My friends and I love the footy. We spend the whole week waiting for the next game. And before you know it, the ABC has the footy on the radio again.
Hits the boundary in the right foot. Oh, that's one of the goals of the season.
He likes it before it even crosses the line.
2-on-1. Silvani! What a mark in the goal square.
It's there.
Light up your week with the best call in the game.
Grandstand AFL.
AFL.
On ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital. The 2022 AFL Premiership Season. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The Collingwood skipper marks 45 out, has options of plenty inside 50, and the first of those presenting is Josh Dacos. He's 40 out, slightly right of centre. Connects from 45, right to the line all the way. And the Pies go back ahead. Dacos evades a tackle, spirals it back inside forward 50. Ginnivan! What a kick! And Ginnivan was positioned so well that he gives himself room to kick on the inside of the boot. Brings it back for goal number 3. Jack Ginnivan sparks the pies again.
Oya, handball Rankin. Rankin! Oh my goodness! Isaac Rankin. There's the X factor. Roses, electric pace on the boundary. The left foot to the goal square. Oh, picked up by Anderson. Towed through. That's the pace that can continue the forward line.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Half-time at Carrara for what is potentially one of the games of AFL Round 16. Collingwood 6-9-45 leads the Gold Coast Suns 5-6-36. It was certainly billed as a good game in prospect, and it is not disappointing so far. 9 points Collingwood's break at the half-time break around the grounds at Kardinia Park in Geelong, where it is the Cats who lead 8-8-56 over North Melbourne 4-1-25, so not yet underway there. The third term to begin here and there very shortly. You're with Brett Sprigg alongside Michael Price, Jeff White, Matthew Primus and Zane Bojack on the boundary for us this evening. It was a wet Gold Coast afternoon. It looks a little slippery underfoot in places, but other than that, it has remained dry for the entirety of the game so far. Earlier at Adelaide Oval, Adelaide going down to Melbourne. They pushed them all the way though, 14-10-94 to 10-5-65. A late flurry of goals made it a 29-point win to the Demons there at Adelaide Oval, which makes Jeff White very happy. Petrarca kicked 3 goals, one had 33 disposals. Clayton Oliver had 36 touches, and Rory led the disposal count for Adelaide with 32. Earlier at the MCG, an upset, and that's why this game is so consequential, because those sort of results also shaped the 8, with Sydney missing an opportunity and going down by 9 points to Essendon, 15-5-95 to 12-14-86 at the MCG. Zach Merritt had 24 disposals and 3 goals straight. Chad Warner, the best of the Swans, 3 goals, 1 and 25 touches for him, and Nick Hind it was who kicked the sealer with 60 seconds left to push the result beyond doubt, and Essendon with the win there, and that is only Essendon's 4th win of season 2022. So cause to celebrate for Ben Rutten and his men with that earlier result at the MCG. They're hoping for 20,000 plus here tonight. We had Daryl Braithwaite performing pre-game. The weather has done the favour for us, and there is a buzz about the place. Plenty of Collingwood fans. They were targeting the idea that it was school holidays and getting families up to the Gold Coast to see some footy, and we'll see if it does crack the 20,000 mark, which would put it in the top 5 crowds that the Gold Coast Suns have had here on the Litter Strip. So second half to begin very shortly. Around the grounds across the other sports, the Wallabies are playing over in Perth against England. There's an ABC Sport live blog running on this, and it is a penalty party so far. England 6, Australia 3. And it's after half an hour there. So that is what is happening as the Wallabies look to end a run of 8 straight defeats against England in that game at Perth Stadium. The NRL, we were speaking about this in the emergence of Huago Paul Oya, the Papua New Guinean, who's making his debut tonight for the Gold Coast Suns, and the popularity of rugby league in PNG. Australian rules not too far behind, but in the NRL so far, it's half-time, South Sydney 18, Parramatta 6. Earlier, the North Queensland Cowboys beat the Brisbane Broncos in a blockbuster up there in Townsville, 40 points to 26. And in the first of those 3 games today, Granola Sutherland, the Sharks, beat Canterbury Bankstown 18 points to 6. The NRL results from earlier today. Gold Coast Suns make their way back out there. Nice vibe around the place. Jeff White, Matthew Primus. You get the feeling there is still plenty of twists and turns left in this game yet.
It certainly is. It's great first half from both sides. Their pressure, the ability to lay the tackles, uncontested and contested possessions. But as we spoke about at half time, just the intercept marks from Collingwood is just setting up their counter-attack, going whether they go wide with the spread or whether they're going through the middle and taking on the Gold Coast Suns defence. So it shapes up to be a good second half.
Yeah, it certainly does, and I think Price has mentioned with a few individual stats there's no run widths or tags out there at all, so a lot of the midfielders and half-backs are racking up some high numbers, so that'll be something to keep an eye on to see if any of the coaches make a change there, and also to see what happens through the middle of the ground if Collingwood try and win a bit more of the contested possession or just sit outside to keep pressuring them. But I just love the bigger picture of where this sits for the final 8. You know, the Pies win this, it's 2 games clear with Richmond to play West Coast tomorrow. Then the Gold Coast are 2 games out, but if Gold Coast win it, geez, she's game on, and they have Richmond next week without getting too far ahead of ourselves. So great ramifications for what's going to be in this second half.
So Collingwood currently up into 6th in the live ladder, so that's where they'll stay if they win tonight. As you say, the run for them looks pretty handy. North Melbourne, Adelaide, Essendon over the next month, Port Adelaide as well, then Melbourne, Sydney, Carlton to finish off. That's what it looks like for Collingwood. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but yes, as I say, very consequential as far as how the top 8 looks. The Pies make their way out of the sheds as well, with a 9-point lead at the major break. 0437 774 774. You can keep your text coming on the SMS. Just let us know your name, where you're listening from. 0437 774 774. A few numbers to halftime, Michael Price.
Let's look at the overall disposals. Collingwood are plus 27 in disposals, and that comes out with handballs. They are plus 21 in that. And the rest of the stats are basically, relatively even. Clearances 21-17 to the Gold Coast. Contested marks, though, that sticks out for Collingwood, 10-3. 26 inside 50s apiece, but Collingwood are operating at a much better efficiency inside 50 at 50%, 13 from 26. The Gold Coast only 8 shots from their 26 forays inside 50. Tackles, Collingwood 32-25, and the hit-outs, well, I believe that Jared Witts is winning the hit-outs with Mab Chol. Sorry, let's put it, there it is, 22-17. They're losing the hit-outs, but they're winning the clearances overall. Collingwood winning the hit-outs 22-17, but the Gold Coast are winning the clearances overall 28-20. So, look, it's a tight game, and the numbers are showing that.
Talk to us about Jared Witts and what it is he does well to make him such a dominant ruckman. You guys know it pretty well.
He's just a monster. You can't move. He's completely different to Cameron and Cox for the Pies. He's just a huge beast. Doesn't do a huge amount around the ground possession-wise, but the way he uses his body and his tap work, I think I read something during the week, himself and Rao and Miller are like 1 and 2 combinations in the competition, and ruckman to ruck rover. So it's more the stoppage dominance that he gives the Suns, which gives them great field position. But tonight, both Cox and Cameron have competed okay inside, even though Whitty's gone all right around the stoppage, but they've really run hard around the ground, trying to put some work into him to see if he tires, and if his fatigue comes in the second half and he's not as dominant, then that's definitely a leg up for the Pies.
Yeah, and I've noticed a few times that Darcy's gone to a stop play around the ground. He's trying to move, so that's what I used to do against you big fella. You got to move. You got to try and get Witts to turn around and turn his head and take his eyes off the ball, just to put him off. So you've got to be agile. You got to try and move and try and put him in different positions. But he's a big lad. I like what Cox and Darcy though are doing at the centre bounce. You've got to jump into him. You've got to try and get him off the line and try and negate him in that centre bounce.
I've also noticed just with DeGoey, he's had low game time. I think Zane brought it up. Apart from the guys who've been on the pine, he's pretty low game time. I would have thought that would have been his last 3 or 4 weeks. He's had a bit going on, the young fella, and he probably hasn't trained as much, and they're just maybe trying to look after him. It'll be interesting to see if they keep doing that in the second half, or they try and get him going there. But no doubt they're probably trying to nurse him through the first 1 or 2 weeks to make sure he doesn't get injured.
Only came back to training, I think, on Tuesday, the Pies. So the spotlight, as always, on Jordan DeGoey, and especially so tonight, given the few weeks that have proceeded tonight. So second half not too far away. Collingwood 6-9-45. The Gold Coast Suns are 5-6-36. Players ready, fans back in their seats. Real vibe around the place, as I say, here at Carrara Stadium on the Gold Coast. And what does this second half have in store?
Good to see Miller. Took Miller too, starting in the centre bounce. He come off just near the end of that last quarter, went down the race like Zane Bojack said, so good to see him starting in the centre.
About to get this third quarter underway. Here is Michael Price on Grandstand AFL.
Umpire holds the ball aloft, and we'll get it going for the second half. Darcy Cameron versus Jared Witts for the Gold Coast. I'll call that one a draw. It hits the deck though. Rowell overruns it. Miller comes in for the Gold Coast. Shoots out a handball that's cut off by Nick Dacos. Tackled into the ground. Turn the ball over. Here's it for the Gold Coast now. Witts from the 50. Kicks it to the lead of Casbolt, but it was nicely punched away by Moore. Attack towards the defensive part of 50. Hoskin Elliott, his kick was smothered. It's loose. Rankin, tunnel ball effort. Roses tackled off it. Collingwood scrapping to get out, and they will here through McCreary.
McCreary thumps it up the line. Wobbly looking kick here. Elliott in the contest down there with Lemons. Lemons in best position, does well. Follows up out the back. Thumps it back from whence it came. Now Chris takes the chest mark for the Pies. It's just through the air going back and forth here. Now Collingwood can go forward from right half back. Cox leads up, goes through his fingertips. Following up now, bursting his way through Bowes for the Gold Coast Suns. On the 45, a well-weighted pass by foot to Ainsworth. He marks 55 out. Goes on the entry. Casbolt clunks the overhead mark in the pocket, 25 out.
Well, the chalk and cheese, wasn't it? Yeah. Cox, simple lead-up mark, spilled through his hands, the turnover cost him. Go back to Casbolt. He has the same lead, but clunks the ball and gives the Suns a shot on goal. Disappointing error there by Cox.
Geez, that was good one-on-one by Lemons too on the half-back line to win that. That was really important.
Elliott had won a few more of those throughout tonight, but Levi Casbolt, 90 seconds into this third term, off a couple of steps, sets it on its way, and it's hitting the left-hand goal post. Minor score. It's the first score of the second half. Gold Coast 5-7-37, Gold Coast 6-9-45. We're approaching the 2-minute mark of this third term. There is a rather boisterous punter. I don't know if we're hearing it just through Zane's mic downstairs, so whether it's available for everyone else to hear the atmos, but there's a bit going on. Cameron Marks in the right back, at right half back.
That throat will be shredded within 10 minutes if he keeps going, so Darcy Cameron on the right slipper towards Cox again. Oh, there he goes. Floated over the pack and took a beautiful mark, did Mason Cox. Weighted kick though. Could work out for Collingwood. To go, he rove well. Handball Lipinski, handball to McCreary. From the boundary line to the top of the goal square. Oh, coming back, but the flight was Ellis. Brought the ball to ground. He actually took a mark. The umpire has paid it. That was very courageous. He plays onto the right back pocket and finds Sam Collins.
The former Docker, now a vice captain here at Gold Coast. Oh, dicey kick. Just travels to find Lemons. Adams providing some forward pressure. Gold Coast tip it around to defence. Comes beyond defensive 50. Back here from Anderson to Bowes. He marks at centre half back. Works the hand pass forward. Here is Ainsworth. Goes down the pipe now. Inside forward 50, but Darcy Moore arrives and takes a strong grab. At full back for the Pies, they start again. Coming beyond defensive 50. Oh, could have marked that time down there. Could have Ballard, but the Suns go back inside 50, and the kick from Holman is out of bounds on the full. So a Collingwood ball at right full back, and it's they who lead by 8 points, 3.5 gone third term.
Yeah, wasted effort there by the Gold Coast. They had a couple of players open there.
They had Child by himself too. He just had to turn his head.
But the pressure is on as the ball comes out from Darcy Moore outside defensive 50. Witts was spoiled by Darcy Cameron, who then picked it up. He was tackled into the ground. And David Swallow will get up off him. And Cameron slowly getting to his feet, giving the ball back to the umpire. Witts now with the ruck contest. Tapped down to Miller. Handball to Swallow. A high ball towards Casbolt, who got to the front position. Spoiled. Rove by Holman. His handball misses a target. Roses tracks it to the boundary line. So does Nick Dacos, and we're going to throw in 40 metres out.
Better by the Suns there. They won the inside ball and they were able to transfer it to the outside ball and a better inside 50.
Around the grounds in Geelong, the Cats lead North Melbourne by 37 points, early stages, third term there. You can find coverage on the AFL app, the ABC call of every game as always. Stoppage here, comes back inboard. Now Rankin squeezes the kick to the goal line, but it's marked by Darcy Moore. He can work it forward to Murphy, and now Noble just gets it away. Pressure came from Ellis, side bottom, in some space. Off to Noble. His hand pass can release him. Room to bounce at left half back. Noble comes up the outer wing, and they just slow things down for a moment. On the outer side with Brody Myercheck. Off to side bottom. Again, room to move. Ginnivan marks just forward of the wing. It's a slower surge this time from Collingwood, but it's been effective so far. Ginnivan goes inside forward 50, and it's out of bounds on the full. Not quite the finish. It was too wide of Elliott and too deep as well. Out on the full. Gold Coast get the footy back. It's the Pies who lead by 8 points, 5 gone third quarter.
Caleb Graham receives the kick from Lemons in the goal square. He wants to play on, does so. It's with Butterick now.
Good defence by the Pies here. Yeah, really manned up really quick.
And sliding across the ground too, Whitey. They've really blocked the avenues out of that left back pocket. It's along up the line now. Cameron off his hands to Holman. Handball to Witts, and Witts, His handball was cut off by Maynard. He gets it to Lipinski, closer towards the corridor. Nick Dacos back into the centre circles to Noble. Noble goes out wide to find side bottom. He drops what he should have taken, but has the presence to pick it up. Wheel around onto his left and hit Jamie Elliott with a beautiful pass right on the arc of 50. This is within Jamie Elliott's kicking distance. No, it's not. He chisels a pass to Cox, who can't take the mark, and Gold Coast should get out.
They do clear the footy beyond defensive 50. Sidebottom wins it to ground now, shrugs the tackle out there of Rankin. His hand pass goes toward the boundary line, kept alive. Back here for Miller. He can work a hand pass forward. Suns are away from the flank on the outer side. Kick not so tidy though this time from Holman through the fingertips of Darcy Moore. At the drop though, Noble comes back in field now for Lipinski on the Narang River wing, and he'll slow things down for the Pies, who lead by 8 points, 7 gone here, third quarter.
The top 3 possession getters for the Pies are Nick Dacos, Steele Sidebottom and John Noble. So emanating from their defence as they kick it towards half forward. Sean Lemons for the Gold Coast. He toes it forward, cut off by Sidebottom yet again. He goes across half forward. Crisp can't pick it up. Rankin did. Tackled. Handball now. Comes back with a chance, and they just keep running as the punter in front of us yells out to tackle. He's amusing me. It kicks towards the commentary wing. Well done by Quainer, but it's going to come back for the Gold Coast. David Swallow picks it up. Handball backwards, and it's going to come in. Nice pass. Hits Jared Witts, the ruckman. They're going to move forward.
Well, it's off the hand pass now. Bowes comes to the flank, trying to find the target down there of Cheetahs, but Hoskin Elliott runs it out of bounds for a throw-in. In fact, it was Ainsworth in the contest with him, so it's out of bounds for a throw-in now. You do see it in these high-pressure games where we go away, we have a half-time break, we come back, and the skill level takes a dive to start the third term. It's certainly been the case here so far. No less enthralling. The Magpies by 8 points. Back in it comes. Witts up in front, down to Took Miller. Hand pass off here to Bowes to Swallow. Quick chain now going inside 50. Chol reaching to the right-hand side. Can't reel it in. Murphy slips the tackle. He was taken high. Collingwood free kick at right full back.
The backs are holding up really well, aren't they?
They are what both teams are anxious about how they're kicking the ball inside 50, which is why the skill level's down a bit. They don't want to bomb away.
So it's a long kick in front of the grandstand commentary box. Cameron spoiled by Graham. Beautiful roving by DeGoey, and the handball to Nick Dacos, disposal 27. Goes back inside defensive 50 for Noble. Noble, the handball to DeGoey. It was too hot for him. He lost it. Back to Noble. Under a lot of pressure. He ducked under one too from Nick Holman, which will be a free kick for a high shot. Gives him a chance to go laterally to the other pocket. Maynard out to left half back, and Quainer. He likes what he sees up forward and plays on quickly. Ginnivan, versus Collins. That was a bit of a mismatch. Collins is going to come back. Went straight through. A very strange looking tackling effort, but Ellis gave it now to Casbolt, who puts it on the slipper to find Ainsworth right on the paint of 50. Kicks it in. Holman, the 15-metre pass. And boy, that was attritional down the outside, but the Gold Coast have got a shot at goal finally, 40 metres out, very tight angle to the right.
Good connection there from the Suns. It's a bit like when they played against Sydney. The first half, they were bombing it inside their forward 50. That's where they were getting the intercept marks. Now they're just lowering their eyes. It seems a little bit of a structural change that they've done. They've spoken about at half-time.
Only his 15th disposal, Nick Holman, but he's provided 3 good tackles inside 50 as well. On the left foot from 40. It's across the face, big leap and off hands into the goal post for one behind. So the Collingwood team leading by 7 points now, 45 plays, 38.
Nick Dacos to kick out. Pumps it up the corridor. Coming up in front, strong grab taken by Myercheck. The contest against Collins. Hand pass out here for Lipinski, releasing Pendlebury on that left leg going inside forward 50. Ginnivan. Again, the ball just dropped in his breadbasket. Ginnivan takes the mark. 40 out directly in front.
How many marks has he taken tonight on his chest, hasn't he? He's just used his body and it's fallen on the breadbasket really well. Once again, a quick kicking, and again, Whitey down the middle.
Yep.
Beautiful mark, and then they're able to play quick from that.
So 4th mark tonight. He's kicked 3 goals. So he's essentially 3 from 3 every time he receives the footy.
But just to see it off the boot, to protect that space to where it's going to drop.
And he comes off the instep, Jack Ginnivan, and he's sprayed it right across the face. And again, I think fans find it so frustrating, and It might be a confidence thing for certain players, but he gets nothing for that. No change to our score. Collingwood 6-9, Gold Coast 5-8. The margin 7-11 gone third term here at Carrara.
Long kick just short of centre wing. Wits spoiled by Cameron. Chance at front of that pair for Tuke Miller, who puts a 20-metre kick forward beyond the wing. It was Holman who was knocked off the ball well there by Rusco. Ball spills Collingwood's advantage. Murphy tackled by Mab Chol. Ball underneath the pair of them right in front of me here in the grandstand commentary box. We'll get a ball up. Pies by 7 points. We've played 11 minutes of the third term. It's been an enthralling contest here on the Gold Coast. Chilly night in the holiday strip, but hot footy. Adams, handball back to side bottom. Around the body towards Myercheck, but once again, Sam Collins, beautiful bit of defensive work.
Great grab by him. Squirts the kick up the line. Works it okay here for Anderson. Wheels and goes now. Inside forward 50. Casbolt claims it was touched. It was playing off the boot. It was. Comes to Miller. Right. He can have time to work the kick on the angle to Ellis, who takes the chest mark in the right forward pocket, no more than 25 out.
It's such a great skill. Just to sum up the situation, to point it in the where you've got to kick it to. It's a good skill he's got there. Took Miller.
Brandon Ellis, a dual premiership Tiger. 7 goals, 5 on the year so far. On the approach, 45-degree angle. Stabs at this and misses near side. Still no goals in this third term so far. So Gold Coast close the gap again. It's a clear 6 points the diff. 6-9 plays 5-9. 12.5 gone third term.
And playing on again. Long kick towards the wing. That's a great mark from Charlie Ballard, who muscled Mason Cox out of the way. The boy from Sturt kicks it inside 50. Chol from the back position, more in front. Well roved by Quainer. Hooks it out of defensive 50. Hoskin Elliott spoiled there by Cheetahs. The ball spills now for Cox. He wants to get rid of this. He lopes towards side bottom. They manufactured to muck it up. I think Mason just couldn't get into the right space. Flanders gives it to Cheetahs. Standing start. Casbolt. Oh, presented. He's huge. And he wheels around. The vision was good. The execution was not. Murphy cut it off. Collingwood saved the day.
The Pies will start again from the left back pocket. Around the grounds in Geelong. The Cats lead by 38 points on the Kangaroos midway through the third term there. Meanwhile, short kick to Quainer. Right on the junction of 50 defensive half of the ground. Collingwood by 6 points. Quainer, the 50th gamer. Thumps it up the line. Players converge through the air. Henry up in front. It's off hands and over for a throw-in. Your text 0437 774 774. Footy on the TV, cycling on the computer, and ABC commentary on my phone. Perfect, says Jane from Mooloolaba. And Dave listening in Rapunya, Victoria. Nice. Great commentary, go Suns. Thank you, Dave. Back underway here. Magpies by 6.
And it's in contest on the Nerang River wing. DeGoey enters, handball backwards, but he sold his mate into a lot of trouble. Nick Holman and David Swallow.
Got the game on their terms at the moment, the Suns, dominating contested possession stoppages at inside 50.
Now from the ruck contest, good work from Mason Cox down to DeGoey. Hooked it around the body, Myercheck gathered and burnt off Collins. Handball to Ginnivan, playing for the free kick. Guess what? He got it again. You got to learn to tackle this kid. He will go low. You've got to go lower. Jack Ginnivan to the hoots of the crowd, kicks it inside 50. What a pass. That is magnificent. And it's going to be a shot on goal coming from Ollie Henry.
They've only had 4 inside 50s this quarter, but every time they've gone, they've lowered their eyes, and the Suns defenders are all backing back looking for a bomb. And a beautiful kick to lower his eyes and hit an easy target. They need to kick this though, the Pies.
So Ollie Henry, he's got one on the board. He's a prolific scorer, 21 goals for the year. He in fact scored the first goal of the game. From 25 metres out directly in front, Ollie Henry. Oh, hits the post 2/3 of the way up. Pies frittering their chances. 46 plays 39, 7 points the margin, 15 gone third term.
3 behinds to 1 behind this third term so far, so still no majors. Gold Coast work the footy to the flank. Kick comes beyond defensive 50, and this kick from Butterick does find Markov. Markov wants to work it back across the defensive goal mouth. It's marked out there by Collins. He's called to play on now. The switch out to right half back. Ellis marks in space. It's a slow build up here for the home side. Trailing by 7 points midway through this third term on Grandstand AFL. They chip it around again. Short ball finds David Swallow in those blue boots. And he's approaching 200 games as well, 190th game tonight. His kick up the wing is marked by Mason Cox. Pies get the footy back in space. Lipinski gets back to mark just in front of the centre circles. The Pies all start streaming forward.
The former Bulldog. Long kick towards the top of the goal square. Dangerous, but beautifully read by Sean Lemons for the Gold Coast. Takes a relieving mark. Goes out to the right back pocket. Ellis has worked his way all the way back down. He little 45 kick. Finds Ballard. Content to hold on to the ball in their back line. Well delivered to Collins. Sweeping handball to the run of Oleg Markov. He was chased manfully. Still got the kick away. A 2-on-1. Maynard comes over the top with the assistance of Rusco and belts the ball over the boundary line in front of the grandstand commentary box.
Both teams are playing safe, aren't they? They kick catch and not willing to take it on through the corridor like they were in the first half.
But that comes down to the defence as well.
Yep.
Just the ability to get on the danger side really, really quick.
Matthew Primus, Jeff White on Grandstand AFL via ABC Sport. Brett Sprigg, Michael Price calling the action. Back in it comes. Tried to weasel it away here, Anderson. Not 15, play on it, was touched in fact. Sliding in now, trying to affect the tackle, Rowell. Footy jars free here for Pendlebury. It's smothered here by Rowell. Great second effort, going inside forward 50 here, and it's marked by Cheetahs. It dropped in his lap, 35 out, lays off the hand pass to Rankin. Not quite set, but kicks in a hurry and nails the finish. That was unselfish from the debutant James Cheetahs. Saw Rankin, goal side, 30 out, off a step, he just squeezed the kick through, and Isaac Rankin with his second closes the gap to 1 point. Collingwood 6-10-46, Gold Coast 6-9-45, 18 played third term. ABC Sport, this is Grandstand AFL.
Great smother from Rao. Not to overcommit towards Pendlebury, to actually poise and wait. It's such an underrated 1%er in our game, I reckon, the smother. Look what that's done. You could see the Collingwood players were gone. Why wouldn't you? When the Pendles has got it. But that smother from Rao was outstanding, and then to get it inside forward 50 was great. But yeah, awesome work from the Suns there. And
they needed to, get something on the board for their efforts. 37 inside 50s for only 12 shots to the Gold Coast. They're operating at 32% efficiency inside 50. Collingwood 15 from 33 at 46%. Back into the middle. Collingwood with a chance to win the clearance. Crisp, it came off his hands. Rowell stole it. Got the handball back to Anderson from a standing start. He kicks towards half forward. It hits the deck off the chest of Maynard. Now with Roses. Skills and pace. Handball to Miller. Sizzling pass. Hits Chol. 40 metres out directly in front. As another Gold Coast player hits the deck further towards goal. That was Cheetahs, but Mab Chol will have a shot. That was better movement.
Imagine you're a Sun supporter seeing Rowell and Anderson just shake off tags and use their strength inside there, and they're only still young kids in their career. Great to see.
The top two draft picks of 2019, 1 and 2, Rowell and Anderson. But it's with Mab Chol now. He's already got one goal. The newly anointed cult figure of the Gold Coast just dabbed at that one, didn't kick through the ball. One behind, 6-10, 46 apiece. 19 minutes gone, third term Grandstand AFL. That would be AFL.
Kick in will come from Nick Dacos. Scores level here, 6-10, 46 apiece. Beyond defensive 50 comes Mason Cox up in front. Out to Greet, it takes the mark on the flank. You can turn your ears away now, North Melbourne fans. Geelong by 52 points, Quinnia Park. Similar stage of play there late in the third term. Cox up the line. Again, the players converge, and it's marked from behind there by Ballard. Mark wasn't paid though. Kick smothered. Ricochets back here to Markov. Shares it with Collins for the Suns. His kick down to Anderson. Again, not 15 play on. Works a hand pass forward. Reaching for it, side bottom. Noble wins it away. Pushed off the kick here by Cheetahs. A little skid out in front of the boundary line for Adams. Inboard it comes now back to McCreary. Still alive. Now it finds the boundary line just inside 50 at Collingwood's attacking end. They won't deliver it, the home fans. They won't get it, and nor should they. It's 6-10, 46 apiece. Gold Coast and Collingwood here on Grandstand AFL. We've just hit time on here in quarter number 3.
And tight game. Doesn't get any tighter. Throw in underneath the small scoreboard saying it's all tied up. Witts versus Cox, off the hands of Cox to Bowes. Bowes handball to Ellis under pressure, tackled by De Goey. Ball spills, yes indeed. I was holding the man, not holding the ball. So Brandon Ellis will get the free kick, courtesy of Jordan De Goey. Kicks it into the right back pocket. Caleb Graham, the Cairns and Palm Beach Currumbin product, plays on. Kicks towards Ballard. Good hands. Handball now towards the run of Took Miller down the outer side. Chol versus Moore. Chol wins out, then drops a mark he should have taken. He did all the hard work. Now at ground level, it's Roses and Oya. And there's a whistle on play. There's been a hold, and it's off there. It's going to go to Malcolm Roses. The first player out of the Northern Territory system set up for the Suns. Kicks it inside 50. Collingwood should get away here. Noble to Quainer.
His kick was, I think, touched off the boot, and so as a result it will be a throw-in, not out of bounds on the full. So forward 50 stoppage here for the Gold Coast Suns. Scoreboard end. By the way, Matt Rowell has it's his 21st yesterday, so recent birthday for the star Gold Coast midfielder. Back in it comes. Witts in front of Cameron. Roses trying to just work his way to the front now. Overran the football. Maynard tries to win it away for the Pies. Gold Coast here. Through that man, Rowell. Goes to find Casbolt. Can't pull in the grab. Noble at ground level here for the Pies. Lofty hand pass for the side bottom. Dispossessed. Pressure now on Rusco. Soccer's away to the boundary line. It's recovered though by Oya. And he comes infield. And the mark is taken down there by Anderson. Uncontested grab, 40 out in the 45-degree angle. Nice vision it was from the Papua New Guinean. Opportunity here for the Gold Coast Suns to go back ahead.
The forward pressure from the Suns has lifted this quarter.
Huge.
It's been great. And it's a balance as well. They haven't had two go to one. They're actually standing off, and they're picking their moments of when they put the pressure on.
Gold Coast Suns haven't led since midway through that first term. They kicked the first 3 goals of the game. It's been all Collingwood since then in this tight tussle. Anderson's kick is sprayed well to the left. That's nothing. Out of bounds on the full. No change to our score. They won't be ahead just yet. Gold Coast 6-10-46. Collingwood 6-10-46. 23 gone in this third term on Grandstand AFL.
So Isaac Quainer playing on for the Pies. Long to the commentary wing. Off the hands of Graham to the back of the pack. Markov, the former Richmond player, wheels around the right foot kick, and Casbolt! Oh, yes, indeed. You can see him coming. And Isaac Quainer didn't as he sat on his shoulders. Casbolt will have a shot 40 metres out, 45-degree angle to the left.
Saw his direct opponent, Murphy, just sat back off and let him fly, and then just, actually it was Moore, and just in disgust, clapped his hands and knew he should have flown with him.
Oh, that was just a good run-up and jump at the footy. So Levi Casbolt already has one on the board. Hasn't he been a pick-up for the Gold Coast? Comes in, kicks through the ball, but inaccurately. They've hit the front, though, the Gold Coast, 47-46. They lead by a point with nearly 24 gone to the third term.
Who wants it? Inaccurate both sides in this third term, especially the Gold Coast Suns. They come beyond defensive 50 here. Darcy Moore's kick out at the drop, working his way to its side bottom, follows up, tackled here by Caleb Graham. Footy comes loose, worked up the line by Darcy Cameron. Ball in dispute on the commentary wing. Numbers here with the Gold Coast Suns. Anderson gets his kick away under pressure from McCreary. High towards half forward. Casbolt this time spoiled from behind Darcy Moore. Back in again it comes now. Flanders hand pass chopped off by Sidebottom. We've got some run going here. Adams for the Pies. Tumbles a kick. It skids towards half forward. Mychek competes with Collins. Slapped out here towards Butterick. Collins goes again. Great second effort from the defender. Out on the outer wing. Socked away by Pendlebury. High in the air. Butterick gets back with a flight and takes the mark at right half back. The Suns keep possession and a 1 point lead, 25 gone. And because we've had very few goals in this third quarter, that is a very short third term. 24 minutes and 42 seconds. And we had, in fact, just the one goal, the Gold Coast Suns. That was Isaac Rankin's second. And the home side ahead at the final change by just a solitary point. Gold Coast 6-11-47, Collingwood 6-10-46. Goal kickers in this game so far. I'll start with the Gold Coast. Rankin becomes their first multiple. He has 2. Singles to Chol, Anderson, Levi Casbolt and Huago Paul Oya. Meanwhile for Collingwood, 3 for Ginnivan, 2 to Dacos and 1 to Ollie Henry. No change, of course, to our halftime goal kickers because the Pies did not register a major in that third term. The scoreline went 1-5 Gold Coast to just 1 behind Collingwood. So not the greatest third quarter of footy, but it does set us up for an exciting finish here on Grandstand AFL. Whether you're listening right across ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital and ABC News Radio, this is Grandstand AFL.
Dad, we're back!
They're your favourite healers.
Really?
And you said you wanted more?
Definitely.
Well, we've got more.
But you have to promise not to do any more disgusting things.
What? More mischief.
Make up your mind!
More games.
What does this button do?
And maybe just a few more disgusting things.
Dad! What? This is outrageous.
Brand new Bluey.
Yes!
Stream from Monday, June 13 on ABC iView.
Bluey!
The 2022 AFL Premiership season. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
It's smothered here by Rao. Great second effort going inside forward 50 here, and it's marked by Cheetahs. It dropped in his lap, 35 out, lays off the hand pass to Rankin, not quite set, but kicks in a hurry and nails the finish. That was unselfish from the debutant James Cheetahs.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Highlights few and far between in that third quarter at Carrara, but this contest no less enthralling between the Gold Coast Suns and Collingwood. It is 1 point the home side's favour here on Grandstand AFL. You're with Brett Sprigg, Michael Price, Jeff White, Matthew Primus and Zane Bojack. Your texts welcome 0437 774 774. Hey lads, it's Jake the Truckie and I'm listening from WA driving back to Perth from down south drop-off. Well, Jake, love hearing from our truckies because without trucks, Australia stops. 0437 774 774. One thing that's not stopping is this game. Jeff White, Matthew Primus, give us your thoughts at three-quarter time.
Well, just high intensity in that third quarter. I think it's going to come down to who has the most poise going forward. I think the Suns had that in that quarter. They just weren't able to put the scoreboard pressure that they had several shots, kicked 1-5. But it's going to come down to poise. I think that the forward line structure of the Suns, particularly a defensive setup, was much, much better than the first half in that third quarter. There was many times there where there was a disputed ball. They were still holding off their man. They weren't rushing 2-1, 3-1. They were holding off and they were cutting off the exits, which made it really hard for Collingwood. And they were forcing those kicks. They were kicking those rush kicks. They were kicking around corners. So really good defensive structure by the Suns there in that quarter. I think with Collingwood, I think they just got to have a bit more poise. They're getting their hands on the ball. They just got to have a bit more poise. But yeah, it was a great quarter.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Whitey. Their defensive pressure was a lot better, but it was all because of the contested ball plus 12 that quarter, plus 8 at the stoppages, which gave them plus 8 inside 50. So that's Suns footy. That's how they've played all year. That's how they wear down opposition teams and overrun them because they're the best last quarter team in the comp. The only thing they did was kick 1-5 and another shot out on the full. So they'd be really happy that they got their game on their terms. Can the Pies fight back with a bit of that inside ball to give them a bit more ball in hand because they just weren't able to look dangerous enough on enough occasions. And I was going to mention it during that third quarter, that Ginnivan, now I'm no expert on kicking because I was the worst kicking that you've ever seen. But when you have a shot around your body, Whitey, from 20 metres that's okay, but from 45 metres out, you've got to absolutely nail that to perfection rather than doing it with a bit of momentum in a normal run-up. No, and he kicked one that just made it over the line, but if a ruckman had been there, it would have been touched, and his other one went on the full and didn't make the distance. So I haven't watched him this year. I've seen his snaps from in play and those sorts of things, but I don't know whether he's been doing that all year from that distance, but it's very, very unique, and I'd be saying him go back and get on a nice run-up.
And then the other thing with that too, you have to come off the line to actually snap around the corner. So, but then he got a mark inside the centre square and delivered it to Henry. Beautiful kick to Henry. So if he kicked like that, he would have kicked the goal. You're looking at me. That's exactly right, Pruzzy. I mean, he's a good field kick.
Yep.
Why not just go back and just slot it?
Well, we're looking at a bloke who's probably close to leading the common medal in Harry Mackay from Carlton, who's got the same problem. He's got to try and wheel around onto the left from 45, and it's not a percentage play.
In a way, the difference is he's 6'20" and Ginnivan's only small.
Regardless.
Yeah, the person who explained it was Jay Schultz, who's a goal-kicking maestro, and he coaches that sort of thing as well and explains it really well, the mental sort of things and why players do it. But you say you're not the expert, but Jay Schultz certainly is, and You're seeing it more and more in this comp, but regrettably. Around the grounds at Clinic Park, three-quarter time there, Geelong 15-12, 102 to North Melbourne, 5-1. 31, so a 71-point break to the home side there to be expected, I suppose. NRL, late second half, South Sydney 30, Parramatta Eels 6, and the Wallabies up against England over in Perth. It is early in the second half. It's England 6, the Wallabies 3. A couple of numbers here with Gold Coast leading by 1 point. Michael Price.
Okay, so Collingwood now only leading the disposals by 13, but Gold Coast plus 16 in the contested possessions, Gold Coast plus 10 in the clearances. The inside 50s, 40 to 34 in favour of the Gold Coast, but obviously their efficiency isn't quite as good. Leading the charges, you've got Noah Anderson with 25 disposals. Nick Dacos, 32 disposals at 100% kicking efficiency.
It's a game to shape the 8. Gold Coast by 1 point. What do the Pies have left? Final term underway. Witts wins it down here to Touk Miller. Clean clearance here for the Gold Coast. High ball inside 50. Chol outnumbered. Ricochet down towards Nick Dacos. Tumbles it back to the commentary wing. Socked away by Jamie Elliott. McCreary puts a tackle down there on Ellis, and the umpire says, let's ball it up on the logo commentary side.
Interesting, the Pies started Elliott in the centre square and De Goey at full forward.
Interesting move. Jeff White with your expert comments there. The umpire throws it up immediately. That was just Pendlebury tackled into the ground, so he's got to do it all again in the same spot on commentary wing. Out of the hands of Touk Miller, it lands to Hoskin Elliott. Toes it forward 30 metres. Collins wins his way to the ball first. That's a mongrel of a kick, but it landed on the chest of Rowell. He couldn't quite handle it. Maynard jumps on top of him. Ball between the pair of them. The umpire says we'll call it a draw. Patrick Lipinski peels himself off the deck as well.
Ball in the air. Witts wins it down. Elliott into the back of him was Bowes. The umpire lets them play, and Rowell was taken high. Gold Coast free kick from the wing. So can he send them forward? Looks at the options here. Matt Rowell turned 21 yesterday. High ball inside 50. 2-on-1 there. Outnumbered at the drop was Casbolt. Comes loose in the pocket. Rankin turns Murphy inside out. Centering ball here. It's marked though by Rusco. He had the height advantage on Ainsworth. And Rusco marks at fullback here for Collingwood. The basic crux of the kicking thing was all about the fact that on the run, in general play, players aren't overthinking certain skills. But for set shots, that's when you see players do what they do with those little around the corners, and doesn't seem to help them. Beyond defensive 50 here, the Pies. Mychek hits the deck in back play. Ballard takes the mark here for the Suns on the wing. They still lead by 1 point.
I'm going to say, Whitey, you love golf, and that's got to be the greatest head game going around, so apply some of that to footy.
Yeah, it's like a process, isn't it?
Ballard, long kick inside 50. Chol off his hands at the back of the pack. Quainer, he tried to exit the 50. He did, but only as far as Brandon Ellis for the Gold Coast Suns. He lowers the eyes. He's got a lead on, hits his man in Ainsworth. 45 out, but he's only a couple of metres in from the boundary line. He'll have to let this go basically from right on 50 where it intersects that boundary line.
That's the difference from the first half. The defence that we're talking about, where Collingwood feels like they have to rush and kick it out from the back line.
Ben Ainsworth on the edge of his distance from 50, from the boundary line. It skews very wide and right. Out of bounds on the full. Will be a free kick to Collingwood, and it'll go to Nick Dacos.
Brings it in quickly. Finds Maynard. There's a group of lads that are shirtless behind the goals at the southern end of Carrara Stadium. Well, occasional Collingwood scarf. I don't know what the occasion is for them. Anyway, it's knocked away here for Swallow. Goes back inside forward 50. Quainer in the contest with Rankin. Second, third bike. Rankin goes off the deck from the pocket, and it's all the way there. That is freakish.
That's goal of the year there.
Isaac Rankin, that's in the conversation. That's his third. Very important goal for the Gold Coast Suns. They're out by 7 points. 7-11-53. Collingwood 6-10-46. Early stages final term here on Grandstand AFL via ABC Sport.
Wow. What do you say about that? I'm waiting for the replay. That was amazing.
Well, the Gold Coast Suns will be salivating at the fact that the contract negotiations have progressed with this man.
Yeah.
He's the last of the young, brilliant players for them to sign up. Isaac Rankin. That's just incredible.
That's unreal.
Watching the replay, Zane Bojak's on the boundary line.
I was just going to follow up what you said, Pricey. I mean, that's putting an extra 0 on his contract, isn't it? He's the last to sign, but he might get himself a better contract after tonight.
They're starting to replay. Even a Collingwood supporter with a scarf has put his hands up.
Well, back into the middle. This clearance, it was won by Collingwood, and Ginnivan got pushed out there by Markov. Collingwood fans didn't like that. Markov spun around, got around Ginnivan and delivered a beautiful pass to the lead of Ben Ainsworth. Just forward to centre wing, Narang Riverside, the outer side. Ainsworth, bullet-like pass towards Casbolt. 70 from goal. He wheels around, kicks inside 50 to Chol. Off hands at the back of the pack. Quainer delivers it over the boundary line and will get a throw in, and the Pies under enormous pressure. They're trailing by 7 points, 5 gone, final term.
The context of the game, they don't want to concede another goal here, Collingwood.
Only 7 goals to 6 so far, so
it's been tight.
Out of premium goals so far tonight at Carrara. Cameron at the front takes on Witts. Witts follows up, tries to work a hand pass away. Clearing kick comes from Adams of the Pies, beyond offensive 50. Flanders makes the contest down there and Elliott. Elliott gathers here, wrapped up by Rowell. The ball drops. Umpire says play on. In goes Ainsworth, out to Bowes. Hose it inside forward 50. Chest mark taken by guess who? Isaac Rankin. He's no more than 20 out. Slightly left of centre. Opportunity here for goal number 4 for him.
And Marbio Chol, well played. He actually jumped in the air with him to protect him to taking the chest mark.
They're just a lot tougher at the moment. The Suns are just a lot tougher.
Kicked 3 last week against Port. He's lining up here for his 4th. On the approach, Isaac Rankin, 25 out, doesn't let them down. Gold Coast extend their lead. Out to a 13-point break, 8:11:59. Collingwood 6:10:46. And that's a new mark, or an equal. No, it's now the equal. It's an equal game high for a Gold Coast player at a game against the Pies. So there you go.
Levi Casbolt did it earlier in the year.
Yes. So there you go. Isaac Rankin, his 4th goal. And the Gold Coast Suns have momentum. Jeff White, Matthew Promise.
They're all over the shop at the moment, the Pies defenders. They showed the replay behind the goals there, and Rankin's all by himself in the goal square. So they kick it out to the 2 talls. He's all by himself, reads it quicker and takes a mark on his chest. So they are under super pressure. They're smacking them in the contest, smacking them at centre bounce, getting a lot of repeat inside 50s and all over them. They've kept on going the way they finish off that 3rd quarter.
Still trying to figure out what the shirtless guys behind the goals
They've got some sort of thing across their... Yeah, I don't know what it is anyway.
It's like the old American thing. There's Miller goes into the inside 50, looking for Rankin again. Buffeted off the ball there by Quainer. Quainer with the ball underneath him now. Now it's picked up by the Gold Coast. Hacked forward. Big chance. Chol. He tries to gather. Picks it up. He's tackled into the ground. Lets loose the pill. Could have been Ping. Holman. He has tackled as well in the forward pocket. Plenty of Pies around, and the umpire's going to ball it up. They're under pressure here. If they score again, the Gold Coast, the Pies could be in big trouble.
Oh, just that last centre bounce. Geez, that was important for Collingwood.
Martin hasn't gone beyond 18 points either way all game. Currently 13 Gold Coast way. Socket here by Josh Dacos. Picked up though by the Suns, and the firing shot on goal comes from 45 out across the face, this time from Anderson. And it's knocked through for a minor score. So 14 points now, the Gold Coast lead. And again, the Pies play on quickly from the kick out.
Oh, it's not going to work out for them though. McCreary does well to go back to side bottom. Side bottom long down the line. Didn't find the hands of Collins. In comes Adams for the Pies. Gets it and puts it back into the corridor. Markov couldn't pick it up. Dacos could. Gave it to Lipinski. Lowers the eyes. He hits to Goey, who drops a pud. Then he gathers it. Gets tackled into the ground by Lemons. Ball spills to the 50. Adams comes out. Anderson. The handball now to Miller. He's going to steady the ship. Little 8-iron finds Charlie Ballard, 60 from goal, and he'll just slow it down with the Gold Coast leading by 14 points. 8.5 gone, 4th term.
That wasn't Jordan De Goey like.
He looks out of sorts.
He's somewhere else. Gold Coast by 14 points. Up the line they come through Ballard, 2-on-2. Witt, second bite. Taps it here to Oyer. Tries to slip the tackle of Rusco. Goes to ground. The umpire says, give it to me. Between wing and half forward commentary side. The Suns lead 8-12, plays 6-10, 9 gone final term. Quick ball up, emerging with it Holman. He's dumped here in the tackle Maynard, and the tackler is rewarded. Collingwood ball from left half back.
Lifted a bit here, the Pies.
Lipinski back with the flight, good mark. Rowell arrives late. Lipinski just slows things down for a moment. Gold Coast leads by 14. The former Dog goes inside forward 50, needs a marking target. Gold Coast numbers in defence. Elliott does the crumbing, straightens up from 45, not straight enough, it's a minor score. Collingwood 6-11-47, Gold Coast 8-12-60, margin 13, Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, Jordan De Goey wouldn't want to drop too many marks like that, with a lot of rumours going around Brisbane today that Dan McStay met with a couple of Collingwood members. So, Jordan De Goey, he might be in a little bit of trouble at the end of the year if he keeps dropping ones like that.
Yep, David Swallow on the outer wing, up and down towards half forward. Casbolt crashes the pack, brings the ball to ground, gives the Gold Coast a chance. Rowell picks it up, delivers, and puts it over the head of Rankin. Picked up by Hoskin Elliott for the Pies. Handball backwards to Murphy. Under enormous pressure. He tries to clear, but it ends up in the hands of Ballard. 50 from goal, and I tell you what, no, he's not going to sit back. He's going to kick it to the goal square, looking for Chol. It went over his head. If Charlie Ballard takes his time there, that is in his distance, I reckon.
And they had men on.
Ainsworth was all by himself, and he just overcooked the kick, I think.
61 plays 47, 14 points the margin, Suns lead.
Pendlebury kicks out, finds Crisp. Short ball beyond defensive, 50 now for Elliott. He's at left half back. He's got options. The man breaking for him out in the middle is Crisp. On the end of it now, reels in the grab. Dummies the hand pass, holds it for a moment. Comes wider than the Narang River wing. Marked out there by Rusco from the outer logo. Keeps them going now. Myercheck, good contest coming late. Flanders at the drop though here. Josh Dacos, he's 45 out. Brings it back infield now, and it's marked by Cameron. Good change from Collingwood. And Darcy Cameron takes the overhead mark, 20 out directly in front.
That vision by Dacos.
Oh, unbelievable. What about the kick to Cripps, though, in the middle? I mean, to take a risk at this time of the game.
Oh, it was Elliott, wasn't it? Yeah.
Unbelievable kick.
Darcy Cameron. Couple of goals last week against GWS. This a very important one for the Magpies to cut the margin back to 8 points. On the approach, he has hit the post. Dear, oh dear. Margin 13, Gold Coast lead, 12 gone final term.
Last Collingwood goal came towards the end of the second quarter. Turnover Gold Coast at the 50. Picked up by Swallow, tackled into the ground, so it's still inside. The Pies attacking 50. They're trailing by 13 points, 12 gone, final term.
What have we got? Third inside 50 for the quarter with the Pies, so they need to take advantage of this ball down this end of the ground.
Witts versus Cox. Witts gets it down. Rowell, tackled by Dacos. Ball spills. Ginnivan gets around a couple. Handball Cox. Now Crisp. Looping handball to Nick Dacos. He played for the free kick. He got tackled into the ground. Crowd wanted ball. Collingwood players wanted holding, a legal tackle. But the umpire's going to ball it up 40 out.
Lucky. I reckon it would have been holding it. Yeah, close to holding the ball.
Gold Coast by 13 points. Cameron wins it down. Big tackle here from Elliott. As the ball was locked in, the umpire balled up. I guess if you elect to tackle correctly and sort of account for the going low and everything else, you should be rewarded with holding the ball.
Great.
Cameron. Rowell overran it. Worked away by Anderson, marked by Oyer. At centre half back. One of their two debutants tonight. What a great backstory. The Papua New Guinean had a goal with his first kick. That was a highlight in the first term. Comes wide now for Ellis. They have a 13-point lead now, the Gold Coast, but still plenty of time left. 13 and a half played in this final term.
Good poise here from the Suns. Just, chip it around, get Collingwood to defend.
Lemons uncontested ball on the outer side. Thumps it up the outer wing. Out to a 2-on-2. Mason Cox missed it. Worked forward by Holman, only as far as Quainer. Pies rebound now. They can mark here. Maynard, in fact, it is that Nick Dacos got room to move. Kicks inside forward 50. De Goey allows it to bounce, and it's across the face to the left-hand side. Nick Dacos with that effort from 65 on the run. They're peppering away here, the Pies. They cut the margin back to 12. It's 2 goals the margin. Gold Coast lead. 14 travelled final term.
Oleg Markov now from fullback for the Gold Coast. Wheels around to his right. Kicks it down the commentary wing. It's all Collingwood. Quainer. He flies, takes the mark. Basically uncontested. David Swallow stands the mark now. Isaac Quainer, he's got a couple ahead. Pendlebury. He chips forward to the 50 to find side bottom, but he's very wide at left half forward. The Pies content now, but just about every Gold Coast player inside defensive 50. Side bottom signals he's going to go to the top of the square. Does so. Cox with the big fly. At the back, Lemons. He was Stephen Bradbury of that pack. They collapsed and he emerged with the ball, kicked it to the right back pocket to find Butterick.
Butterick comes beyond defensive 50, wide now to find Rankin. Good run to get there. He's a long way from home though at right half back.
We've got a set now. The Suns have got no one. All their tools went into the back line then.
4 goals tonight, Isaac Rankin. Still got some work to do tonight to make this game safely in Gold Coast keeping. It's knocked out of play for a throw-in on the commentary side. And it remains Gold Coast 8-13-61, Collingwood 6-13-49. Meanwhile, around the grounds in Geelong, the Cats 17-14-116, North Melbourne 5-1-31. 85 points the margin there early in the final term.
50 inside, 50s to 39 in favour of the Gold Coast here. They lead by 2 goals. Throw in, commentary side, Rowell yet again. That's his 19th disposal. Bounces it forward. Well controlled by Maynard, and then a drop kick, if you don't mind, finds Hoskin Elliott. Handball back in board to Elliott himself. Now a long kick towards half forward. Beautifully weighted for Cameron. Now he's got a couple free, but boy, the Gold Coast have got numbers back. They've clogged it up very, very quickly for Darcy Cameron. He's got a lead, but he gets to the right-hand side of the man on the mark. In fact, half smothered by the man on the mark. Grand level, Gold Coast with the numbers. Hacked out of there. The only chance is Rankin. And spoiled Darcy Cameron. Flew over him, smashed it over the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in at half forward.
Defended really well here, the Suns. That's 6 inside 50s in a row to the Pies, but they haven't been able to hit the scoreboard.
Umpire tosses it back in. 60 around from the Collingwood goal. Pendlebury to sideboard them. He's run down from behind by Oya. Footy comes loose holding the ball. What a great chase and tackle from the Papua New Guinean. Oya comes beyond defensive 50. Chol is outnumbered. Coming late to make the contest down there is Murphy. Chol, though, parries it to advantage and he runs out of space. Boundary throw in commentary side. It remains Gold Coast by 12 points. You see a contrast there from Oya tackling Sidebottom, who, you know, he was still in Port Moresby only a few years ago. Sidebottom has been playing this game for 15 years at the highest level. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Fair effort, isn't it? Throw in there at the back of the pack. Dacos talking of fair efforts. 37 disposals, and it's immaculate. Finds his brother, who reaches 50, who launches. Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. Macedonians squared. Unbelievable. 61 to 55. It's a 1-goal margin here at Carrara, and Josh Dacos with his third.
Don't you love footy genes, hey? You can't teach some of the stuff that those two do, and just a beautiful finish. I was going to say another difficult shot from outside 50, but he nailed that one. But just the craft inside and then the beautiful finish on the outside.
But he had no time to sum that up. He just had a quick look, bang, out.
What would that bloodline be worth? Talk about bread in the purple. Boy, oh boy.
Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, I think the rain might have kept a few away. 16,027 is the official total for tonight, and they put it up in black and white numbers. I don't know whether that signifies how many Collingwood fans are here tonight. They're making some noise now. Spriggy only down by a goal.
What's the split, Zane? Do you reckon, roughly?
Oh, I reckon it'd be easy, 70-30.
Yeah, it sounds that way. Gold Coast, though, lead by 6 points. 18 going final term. Back in the middle, Casbolt against Mason Cox. Waiting for a clearance. Miller gets there. Shrugs the tackle of Elliott. Sends it back inside forward 50, 2-on-2. Spoil from Maynard. At the drop down there, Roses. Hand pass picked off. Rusco can rebound here for Collingwood. Kicks to the outer side. Butterick makes a contest down there against Oscar Elliott. At the drop though again, Nick Dacos. Neat kick. Finds Taylor Adams. Goes inside forward 50. Back in the hole, Myercheck. Again, it was well judged. That's a neat inside 50 for Collingwood. This could be back-to-back goals and scores level very soon.
Just a great bounce off half-back. The Pies, the midfielders and wingers, once they won that ball, they just got outside them so really quick. Beautiful back lead there, and the TV screen just went to the coach's box, and Stuart Dew, I think, left the coach's box and maybe heading down to the bench. So there's a bit going on down there.
Brody Mychek kicked 4 goals last time these sides met back in round 7. He's been relatively quiet tonight. Here he is lining up for his first. And the Magpie army comes to life, if they weren't already. Scores back level. About to hit time on here at Carrara. 8-13-61 apiece here on Grandstand AFL. Jeff White, Matthew Primus.
What a game. What a game. Just the ability, like, the Suns were coming so hard at Collingwood in the first half of that last quarter, and they've just wrestled back the momentum, and it's the leadership in that side. You know, Pendlebury still side bottom, more on the back line. Just the ability to just go, hey, you know what? Side's going to get a run on, but we just got to keep at it. Keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, Adams has won some crucial ball tools. You talk their leaders. They've won the last 2 centre bounces, or been able to bounce off the loss of a centre bounce, and that's been the important area. They've got better field position than the Suns.
Didn't score a goal in the third term, and here they are, back level, 8-13-61 apiece.
Got Witts back in the centre bounce now, the Suns. See if they can win this one and get it nice and deep.
And the Gold Coast leading the clearances by 11. Witts got it down. Tuke Miller couldn't get his 10th clearance of the match. In fact, he did. Got it kicked inside 50. Oh, good bit of defensive work there came from Darcy Moore. Great mark. Chips forward dangerously to find Chris, but he was spoiled by Ainsworth illegally, says the umpire. So,
lucky.
Yeah, very fortunate. Will be a free kick.
Geez, those marking defenders are worth their weight in gold, aren't they?
That Crisp just plays on around the man on the mark, goes beyond defensive 50. Gives his kick a bit more distance. Carries over the back of the pack. At the drop there is Butterick for the Suns. Clears it back towards half forward. At the drop again, they try to rebound through Jack Crisp. The goey was held by Bowes and the umpire saw it. Free kick Collingwood. The goey gets the footy back. Waste no time. Slybottom now working up the outer side of the ground. The kick flares wide to him. He's 60 from goal now, Slybottom. Stops for a moment. Looks at the options. Scores a level here. 22 gone final term. Slybottom sends it high toward the hot spot. Up they go. Mychek from the back. Doing the coming Hoskin Elliott. Strikes one tackle and snaps and goals. Pies are in front. Momentum with the Magpies. They've kicked 3 in a row to lead by a kick. 9-13-67. Gold Coast 8-13-61. 22 played final term. ABC Sport, this is a grandstand finish on Grandstand AFL.
Unbelievable. What a front centre from Hoskin Elliott. And then to finish off on the on his non-preferred. What a comeback from the Pies.
You spoke about it, Whitey, the leadership. I like Sidebottom. He went back and he waited till their forwards could reset so they could get numbers deep rather than play quick. Once all the numbers were there, he banged it long to a great area. Great front and centre scrum, but I love the leadership from Sidebottom just to slow down the game and give him an easy shot.
And even with that, when he'd taken the mark outside 450, Pendlebury was there telling him to kick it in.
27 disposals for Steele's Sidebottom so far. We're back into the middle, and it falls at the feet of the ruckman. The umpire says it's all tangled up. Let's just throw it up again. So Witts versus Cox. Cox wins this one. McCreery enters. Handball back to Pendlebury. Now they're up and about the Pies. Run to Hoskin Elliott, and he chips forward towards Elliott. Takes the mark just on the paint of 50, and Tuke Miller took him down. Crowd wanted 50. Jamie Elliott, though, plays on, sees a lead, chips it into the pocket. It wasn't able to be taken by McCreery under close checking, and Ginnivan takes it over the boundary line. Zane's down there.
Yeah, Craig McRae wasn't happy with that last decision. Both coaches are here on the bench trying to get their sides home in this close match.
Collingwood by 6 points. Stoppage inside 50 for them. Back in it comes. Witts in front of Cameron. Clean tap. They'll clear here through Anderson. High ball back to the bullseye. Coming in late, Scholl. Only as far as Crisp. He can send them back inside 50. He shanks the kick. Set a dangerous task down there for Nick Dacos. Now they bring it away, the Suns, through Bowes. His kick was untidy as well. Socked forward though by Touk Miller. Out to the flank it goes, end over end towards the boundary line. Holman competes down there with Murphy. I reckon it's out of bounds. The umpire says yes. We'll throw it back in. 65 around from the Gold Coast goal, southern end. It's the Pies who lead by 6 points. 24 and a half played in this final quarter on Grandstand AFL.
A lot of tired bodies out there. There's a lot of just kicking off the ground. Guys can't bend over or run as quick as they were 10 minutes ago.
Anyone pick a draw?
Well, Connor Butterick is coming off in the arms of the trainers. He's at half back and he's being assisted with a physio on either side. Can't put one of his legs down. Throw in at left half forward for the Suns. Fisted away by Cox. Back down the outer wing. Jamie Elliott enters the fray, toes it towards the boundary line. Tracking there is Myercheck, and we'll get a throw in on the Nerang River wing. It's the right leg that he's lifting in the air, Connor Butterick, as he comes off the field. Zeno, can you see that?
It looks like his right knee. He got caught, trapped underneath maybe Maynard. I just couldn't work out who the Collingwood player was, but he's in a lot of trouble here, Connor Butterick.
Back from a hamstring with this game, and now a possible knee injury. Back in it comes. First of the football, Anderson, hand pass. Gold Coast kick the footy moving here. Picked off though by Noble. Hand pass to Adams. Has room to move. Hand pass was off for Chris. Big tackle Markov. Ball comes free. Rowell. Back to Swallow. Hot footy again. Rankin dispossessed. Ball in dispute. Back in the middle of Carrara. Now a big tackle laid by Flanders. And the umpire will ball it up. Cameron it was who was tumbled to ground.
Hot ball in there, wasn't it? The pressure's ramped up.
Oh, that tackle from Markov. Wow.
Pies by 6 points. It's a ball up right in the middle of the ground. Witts taps it out the back. Anderson keeps it moving towards half forward now. Overrun by Holman. Pressure came from Maynard. Swallows hand pass picked off by Noble. Pies get it back. Crisp to the outer wing, and Rowell competes in the air with Elliott. Wins it back here for the Suns. Matt Rowell goes back inside forward 50. Where are the Flyers? Black and white jumpers down there. Quainer. It's slapped out here at a half back. Maynard goes in hard, does well. Crisp rebounds the football here for Collingwood.
And Cameron picks it up. He's belted into the ground by Bowes. Crowd wants either holding the ball or in the back. The umpire says, well, have one each way, and I'll ball it up. There's a player down. In fact, there's a couple of players down. There's a bit of carnage.
Yeah, they call it. They've called for a stretcher, I think.
Darcy Moore and Ben Ainsworth, I think you'll find.
Holding his knee, Moore, and Ainsworth his ankle.
That could be an awkward clash. They both actually don't look very comfortable at all. They're inside the attacking 50 for the Gold Coast, and Darcy Moore.
Ainsworth's getting up, but I think he's hurt his ankle maybe.
Yeah, Moore's holding the knee.
Moore's holding his knee.
Oh dear, this is... Just having a look at it on replay.
Oh, a hyperextension on Darcy Moore.
Yeah, the left knee, the hyperextended one, and it looks like Connor Butterick. Oh, gee, Darcy Moore. No, so Ben Ainsworth, sorry. He landed.
Zano, it was a pretty quiet night up until a moment ago for injuries, and now Connor Butterick's off, and now some trouble here for Darcy Moore and Ben Ainsworth.
Oh, look, it's been an intense contest the whole night. There's been very little in it, and we're just seeing the effects of that now. One thing I can say, it's been a slippery surface all night. They've done well to keep their feet, but just under fatigue, they're just starting to lose their way a little bit.
Oh, dear. Darcy Moore now with a trainer on either side coming off. Looks like he hyperextended that left knee, so that's another player off. Connor Butterick's already been ruled out of the match. The stretcher coming on as was the protocol because it was called for. It has to come on now, and Darcy Moore being put on it so he can be taken off. But he's lifted the hand up. He seems to be in reasonable comfort. You do feel for these players, Whitey and Matty Primus. You guys have been through it all. You put your bodies through absolute hell to achieve what you do.
And the thing is too, with that contest, how many times will he do that at training, games, and it just you just don't. You get hit in the air. It's the courageous effort. I mean, that was a pack of 8 players,
and he had 2 of them. Ainsworth, who was feeling proppy with the ankle, managed to jog off, but you get Darcy Moore coming off on the stretcher, and he's getting the applause of the crowd as he justifiably should.
28 and a half minutes played here. Magpies by 6 points. 9-13-67 plays, 8-13-61. Around the grounds, Virginia Park, Geelong leads North Melbourne by 106 points there. So that's by now well and truly that other game happening as we're back underway here at half back. Adams tried to clear. Suns go back inside 50. Ellis hand pass off to Swallow. Keeps it moving here. Hot footy for Rankin. Little too deep for him. Quena tries to soccer. Going in hard. Noble wrapped up here by Holman. The umpire says let's ball it up. 40 out from the Gold Coast goal. Southern end. They trail by 6 points. About to hit the 29-minute mark here at Carrara.
Stewie Jew on the bench now. Anxious as he urges his team along. Brandon Ellis gathers it on the paint of 50 to the goal square, off hands and side bottom. Takes it through for a point.
Important point.
67 plays 63. The Pies by 4 points. 29 gone, final term.
Try and get this down the other end of the ground. Collingwood by a bit of chip and mark and then get a field position on the Suns.
Pendlebury plays on the left back pocket. Thumps it long beyond defensive. 50 from the kick out and it's off hands and over for a throw in at left half back for the Magpies. Brad from Beauty Point in Taz, thank you for your text. 0437 774 774. We'll take plenty of those post game in the wash up here. Still anyone's game. Magpies by 5 points. To go, he run down on a two-man tackle. Miller was in there first. Loose footy picked up by Adams. He can clear across the half-back line. Half volley pick-up was awkward for Ginnivan. Miller comes the other way. Good courage. Lemon swoops in here for the Suns. Witts can't control it. Knocked out back towards Collins. Goes the fend. Drop the footy on the commentary logo. Picked up. It's going to be holding the ball. Collingwood's tacklers rewarded. Great work it was from Darcy Cameron, who was in there. Laid the tackle on Collins, and Darcy Cameron has the footy, the Albany lad. Collingwood by 5 points. We've just hit the half-hour mark.
So Cameron now towards the boundary line. That's a well-weighted kick, and Ollie Henry comes out and receives it. Brandon Ellis just wondering where his support was. So Oliver Henry forward of the centre wing, commentary side, urged to play on now. Time running out for the Gold Coast. Long kick. Off hands now. It's hacked forward by Casbolt. It might come back. Henry flew. Spoiled by Ellis. Roved by Roses. No. He hacks it forward, but it's all Pies. Myercheck, who's dropped back to halfback, gathers and takes his time.
From centre halfback. Comes up the spine here for Crisp. You had Swallow coming late. Dave Swallows hit the deck. Crisp, meanwhile, flares it wide to Pendlebury at left half back. He'll cede some ground to go inside. Defensive 50 back to Myercheck.
Suns are trying to man up on every spare Collingwood defender here.
Seconds tick down here. Magpies by 5 points. They're chasing 6 straight victories. Myercheck comes beyond defensive 50. Out to a 3-on-2. Casbolt in from the side, can't control it. At the drop, Darcy Cameron. In comes Rowell. Plucks it free. Loads up, goes inside forward 50. Looking for a flyer. Chol is too deep. Coming through, Chris tumbles in the tackle, right on the paint of 50. The umpire says, let's let it play. And now we will ball it up. 55 out from Gold Coast goal with just seconds left.
They've only got 2-1 forward. Collingwood ahead of the ball. All the rest are either at the stoppage or behind the ball.
Down the Pies, hang on. Witts to the outside. Slapped forward by Roses. Ellis beaten to it by Maynard. That might be it. The Magpies hang on. Half a dozen on the bounce for Craig McRae's men. It was a tough contest on the Gold Coast, but they prevail by 5 points. 9-13-67 to Gold Coast's 8-14-62.
Side we stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades shout. Ships a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
For the winners, 3 first half goals for Jack Ginnivan, 3 for Josh Dacos, singles for Henry, Myercheck, and an important one for Will Hoskin Elliott. While for the Gold Coast Suns, 4 for their live wire Isaac Rankin, 4 goals, 1 for him, singles for Casbolt, Chol, Anderson, and the debutant, one of 2 tonight, Huago Paul Oya from Papua New Guinea. What a story that was, but the home side have their colours lowered by the Magpies, winners by 5 points.
Good old Collingwood forever, they know how to play the game. Side by side we stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades shout. Ships a cakewalk for the good
scores level at quarter time. Collingwood led by 9 points at half time. It was a 1 point lead to Gold Coast at the final change. The margin didn't get beyond 18 points either side all game, and in the end, Collingwood, plucky as ever, hang on for a 5 point victory here in southeast Queensland. For their troubles, they have 6 wins in a row and go up to 6th on the ladder now. The Collingwood Footy Club. What a win for them. What a game it was here. And as we catch our breath, the thoughts of our experts, Matthew Primus and Jeff White.
Well, Whitey, just a great game. The Suns played their brand of footy for a fair bit of time. Just a bit of composure, more going inside 50 over the whole game. I thought, they won contested ball, won stoppages, won the inside 50 battle. They denied the Pies a lot of the ball in the second half, but just their efficiency going inside 50 compared to Collingwood's for the game was really the telling difference in a very tight game. Even the last bit there, Rosas got one off the half back line and just blindly kicked it, and he's only played a few games, but kicked it straight to Collingwood's spare defender instead of realising where my numbers might be or use his leg speed. So just little bits of inexperience and a little bit of composure and a lack of leadership and experience around the ground cost them. But look, they go away with no. They don't lose any fans out of that contest, but last week was a poor loss for them, or a bad loss for them, as in the effort they gave. And tonight's game too, that's another one that's gone missing from them, and there nearly maybe goes their chance of the top 8. But Collingwood were super brave too, and they're an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, what an outstanding performance from both sides. I thought we all said that the Suns, great third quarter, first half of that last quarter was outstanding, but then Collingwood just had that poise, didn't they? They were able to get their hands on the ball, they were able to use it, they were able to continue to press. And that's the thing with the good sides, that they have their game style, they stick to their game style, they keep going at it. Sometimes they might stuff it up, they might miss those kicks that go inside the corridor, things like that. It's the ability to just stick at it, and geez, they're a fit side too.
The fitness was once they won the ball inside, or they were able to win contests off their half back line, their ability to run and get outside the Suns was super impressive.
Now they absolutely got belted in the clearances. The centre bounce clearances, Gold Coast 13-4 and Gold Coast 42-28 in the clearances all over. And the inside 50s 54-46, but they found their way. The Gold Coast really wasteful. Efficiency inside 50, only 35% with their 54, but 46% Collingwood. So again, it's that last touch or that last delivery, the polish that you need at the end of the play.
Well, both teams only kicked 2 goals from stoppages, so even though the Suns had a dominance in that area, it didn't correlate to massive inside 50 numbers or a big score source. And I think the Pies handled that really well, because they knew that is a super strength of the Suns all year, and they were able to hide that and keep it away from being a strength of the Suns.
16,000 in the building here tonight. A great many of them are wearing black and white, so the Collingwood players have sort of dispersed from their little post-game huddle and gone to see their fans with the mini footies and greet them in all parts of Carrara Stadium. The injury carnage will be part of the narrative as well out of this game, regrettably. And Connor Butterick, it's worth noting, did his ACL in his right knee early last year as well, didn't he? So I think it was the same knee tonight, wasn't it? The right.
Well, I thought it was an ankle. He got stuck.
Oh, yeah.
He got stuck. So we don't know whether it was the knee or the ankle.
So that's one of the things. Darcy Moore came down heavily on his left knee as well, and
hyperextended that.
That's the scary one, isn't it? Because you just don't know with the hyperextension.
No, you don't know whether you have joint or cartilage damage or
the way he laid down. Without, we're not doctors, but the way he laid down and just held his knee and didn't want to get up, suggested something serious, didn't it?
Meantime, Geelong have beaten North Melbourne by 112 points at Kardinia Park, so a matter. I think we had the good one here. 5 points, Collingwood winners over the Gold Coast Suns, and what that does is put the Pies up into 6th. The Swans lost earlier today, so as far as those permutations for the 8, with only still 6-7 weeks left. We'll chat about the run home for the Pies and what's ahead of them. Because North Melbourne,
so what's that do to Geelong with their win?
That will then...
Their percentage will go through the roof.
So percentage boost, but they still won't quite catch Melbourne, who had that big sort of percentage boost at the start of the year. So they're still a game behind. The Cats, still a game in percentage, only just behind on Melbourne in second. They do go up to second, the Cats, with that win over Brisbane. So you're quite right to point that out. Percentage boosting win puts them ahead of the Brisbane Lions.
Well, how big's that game next Thursday?
Yeah,
very big. Very big.
And Fremantle 4. So I'll recap all of that later on. But the Pies have made their way back to the fans on the commentary side of the ground.
This is odd, Spriggy. I've got to say, we are on the Gold Coast. This is a Gold Coast home game. Usually you would see the opposition fans, even if it's a win, they bail. It's amazing. There are so many Collingwood fans here, absolutely loving it, and I reckon the players are loving it too.
Pricey, it's interesting. When I was at Port Adelaide as a player or coaching or recruiting players, and if they're Collingwood players or Collingwood are into them too, their managers just say, hey, do you want to play in Adelaide in front of good crowds, or do you want to play in Collingwood in front of their crowds at 70,000, 80,000 every week, or when you travel, you've got fans that love you, and it is a great selling point for them and all their players who play for the Pies.
Craig McRae came out and met his players in front of the race where they were about to walk down, and there was a bit of a standing ovation from the section of Collingwood fans in that part of the ground. So
where are those guys with their tops off, Spree?
I don't know. They had something emblazoned across their respective chests. Usually it's like if there's a debutant or something, it's their mates or something. It wasn't anything like that because there was no debutant tonight for the Pies, but there were Collingwood fans because they had black and white scarves on. It is quite cold out there, which is why I was surprised. It's unseasonably or unusually cold for this part of the world, but the Pies make their way off. We'll have Zane Bojack down in the rooms, and it's Collingwood who have won by 5 points here tonight. Saturday night footy on Grandstand AFL. Geelong over North Melbourne by 112 points in the other game tonight. We'll recap all of that in the next 20 or so minutes, and your texts remain welcome. 0437 774 774. Zane Bojack is down in the rooms as the Pies make their way to you. Zane.
Yeah, Spriggy, and it was Isaac Quainer who led them in because the 50 gamer tonight. They're all getting into a huddle. Noble alongside Steele Sidebottom. They're a happy mob here at Collingwood, no doubt about that. Nick Maxwell just telling everyone to wait. He's up on top of the stairs. I don't know who they're trying to bring down, whether... Can't quite see the coach, whether he's not there, but they're just waiting here at the moment, so they've been told to hold things. Maybe I can just tell you how brilliant it is from a Collingwood perspective that they've won 6 in a row, but they're very, very happy. They're just waiting here. This is very interesting. I've never seen this happen before.
Just savouring the moment, I think, Zano, perhaps.
Isn't it Nick Maxwell's, isn't he parting ways? Maybe, I don't know.
They're waiting for Darcy Moore. Can you see him?
Well, that is a very good point that you make, because how critical could that injury be? I can see Craig now. He's being congratulated. And here he comes. Darcy's coming down the stairs. That is exactly what it was, Michael Price. He's coming in on crutches. He's got the ice around his left knee. And they're ready to go now, the Pies boys. Or maybe they're not. Here they go. They're in their huddle now. Look, he's celebrating there. You just wonder how impactful that injury is going to be to their star fullback. But they've got some winnable games coming up, haven't they? Adelaide, Kangaroos, the Bombers, and the Pies have won 6 in a row. This is remarkable for the Black and Whites, boys.
Quite right, as I know, their best winning run since 2019, so not too far ago that they had a winning streak of this standard. But thank you, Zane. Back to you for some reaction shortly. And yes, Nick Maxwell, you point out, he's departing after next week's game.
Next week,
a CEO role in some business away from footy. Seeing Mitch Duncan chat off as well at Kinnear Park as far as Geelong's 112-point win over North Melbourne is concerned, but here the Pies 5 points to the good over the Gold Coast Suns, 6 wins in a row. A couple of your texts quickly. Enjoy the call and commentary as usual. My concern are the ageing players. Do we have the players to come up as others wane with age? Hoskin Elliott is a very good player, says M from Melbourne. And they've got the balance right. I mean, you talk about some of the players in the Collingwood side, like Jack Ginnivan that is coming through, like Nick Dacos, who was a rising star on as well this year. He was good tonight, as was Josh, who's by no means an old player himself, his brother. The Collingwood have a pretty good sort of surge of new talent coming through.
Yeah, they do. They do. Good balance.
If my tipping was a public listed company, I'd be halting trading pending an announcement. What a round, says Rob in Perth. Holding out for the Gold Coast Suns to get one and put me on top of the table in tipping comp, says Josh from Renown Park. Sorry, Josh, it wasn't to be. That text coming late in the last quarter. Rusco, Moore and McCreary out next week. Howe, Dean and Carmichael in next week. We don't win enough centre clearances. Carmichael into the middle from Stewart. Yeah, you're a hard marker, Stewart. The side just had a good plucky win against the Gold Coast Suns under close circumstances, but I appreciate you're always thinking about next week. And as Zane mentioned, next week it is for the Pies. They've got Collingwood, they've got North Melbourne at the MCG Saturday afternoon, and then some winnable games, is putting it lightly. After that, Adelaide, Essendon, Port Adelaide round 20, Melbourne, Sydney, Carlton to finish off some tougher ones. But the run home for the Pies, realistically, where can they go? Where can they get to? They are 6th at the moment. What do you like about the Pies and what you're seeing from Craig McRae's team?
Well, what I've been really impressed with, I've seen him a couple of times this year now, and that's first time live, is their ability to really get on the defensive side really quick. Defensive structure is really good. They hunt in numbers. They have a good balance of that structure. Last year, I felt that teams were able to carve them up really quickly. They weren't able to. There was a lot of ball watchers. They weren't turning their heads. They weren't getting on the defensive side as quick as they could. Now they are, and that showed tonight. When the Suns were up by 2 goals, the Suns were still going. The Suns were still winning out of the forward line, out of the midfield, and also rebounding and keeping inside their forward line. But Collingwood are able to find another gear, and they're fit. They've got a high level of fitness at the moment, and yeah, why not top 4? Why not top 4? I mean, it's they've knocked off some big sides this year, you know. So, and the thing is though, and it's like with every side, and unfortunately with Moore tonight, and hopefully it's not anything serious, but you just got to have a healthy list.
Let's head to the Pies rooms. Zane Bojack.
Yeah, I'm down here with a man who was very impactful tonight, Steele Seibert on 27 possessions. How important was that victory? Because the Gold Coast have been a form team in recent weeks, and you guys won 5 in a row, but geez, they tested you, didn't they?
Yeah, and we knew what we were coming up here for, and they're a very contested side. They're good at their home deck, which they've proved this year. And yeah, we were up for the fight, and really proud of the guys. 2.5 goals down there in the last quarter, and to be able to fight back and get the victory, it's very pleasing.
Okay, first I've got to ask you about Darcy Moore. You waited there in the huddle for him to actually come and be part of it, but how much is that going to impact the side moving forward if he's not able to play?
Well, clearly he's a great player. And, we hope the best for Darcy. I've got no idea at the moment, but I think what's held us in good stead this year is it's the next man up. So whoever that might be, they'll prepare like we always have. We've got a pretty healthy list at the moment. We've got guys in the VFL that, we believe are playing above the standard. So as unfortunate injuries are, we feel like we've got a healthy enough list that, we'll be able to cover some injuries along the way.
All right, I'll throw you up to the panel. We've got Michael Price, we've got Brett Sprigg, we've also got Matthew Primus and Jeff White.
Still Jeff White here. Mate, what was the message at 3/4 time? Because the Suns were it was a bit of an arm wrestle in that third quarter, but geez, you were able to outrun them in the last quarter. And what was the message at 3/4 time?
Yeah, as I sort of mentioned there, they're good in tight. So for us, it was about being harder and cleaner inside, and then we thought that if we were able to do that, we would be able to get them on the outside. And probably the last half of that quarter, I think that that's what sort of kept us going. But as I mentioned, they're very good on the inside, so we had to match that or even halve it, and then we thought that we could get them on the outside.
Yeah, still Matthew Primus, well done on the game tonight. Just to follow on to what you're talking about there, we talked about it during our commentary. You got smacked around the ball, contested possession, and their centre bounce and stoppages were really good, but they didn't hurt you. They weren't able to transition to inside 50, or I think they only kicked 2 goals from that dominance area. So was it a plan going into the week about let's have good representation inside but have better numbers on the outside? Because as you said, most of the night you definitely burnt them away from that hack kick or off half back.
Yeah, well, I suppose we want to win as many as we can, but we like stoppage as well. The numbers mightn't show that on the inside, but I think we've got really good structures around that to help us, either mop it up or create another stoppage. As you said, the numbers mightn't have been in our favour, but we believe our structures and thing around that sort of support it.
Steele, you've played under a few coaches now that have had pretty good success at the club. Tell us about Craig McRae, the person, and what makes his, I guess, style so conducive to a winning culture.
Well, he's just a funny bloke. He's a really good fella. Someone that everyone wants to be around, and I guess as a coach, sort of your role is to create an environment that guys want to turn up and get the best out of themselves. And from the minute that he walked in the door at the Pies, he's wowed a lot of people, and we love going out there and playing for fly. And it's a really enjoyable place to be, and I'm not sure if you can tell out there, but I feel like we're very connected, and that comes from the coach and the messages that he's giving us.
I think we can see it, certainly. Next week, the Kangaroos, they just got beaten by 112 points down at Geelong. The run home, do you think about that and where this team can get to this year?
Well, yeah, probably, but it's not something that you probably go and talk about and put expectations out there. But I don't even want to say the cliche because you all know it. But we'll just take each game as it comes, and if we're able to perform at a high level, then hopefully we're there when it counts.
Still, just one last question. Nathan Murphy, it's the first time I've seen him live. I got him mixed up with Moore a couple of times with the headband and the hair.
Yeah.
But geez, he's obviously learned a good craft off Moore throughout his career. But his ability to intercept and then play tight one-on-one or get a fist in was really impressive tonight. Yeah,
and a couple of times there, just putting the Gold Coast players in two minds, whether to sort of squeeze up or get back to help out. He's very courageous. He puts his body in spots that not a lot of blokes will do, but. As you said, he's got some pretty good blokes back there to be able to learn off with Maury and obviously Howie out tonight. So, he's developing well and someone that is becoming very reliable.
Steele, great stuff. Good win tonight. We appreciate your time.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Steele Slybottom down there in the Collingwood rooms. 5-point winners, 9-13, 67 over the Gold Coast Suns, 8-14, 62. A bit of housekeeping here quickly. In the rugby test, the Wallabies have won that 30-28, so they had to play much of the match down to only 14 men. Darcy Swain, the Wallabies lock, was shown a red card for a headbutt during the first half. They trailed 14-9 in the second half, but 3 tries, all of which converted, saw the Wallabies establish a 16-point lead. England did respond late in the game, and the Wallabies held on to win 30 points to 28 in that first test match over there at Perth Stadium. In the NRL tonight, South Sydney have beaten Parramatta 30 points to 12. Elsewhere, the Cowboys beat the Broncos 40-26, and the Sharks over the Bulldogs 18-6. Also, looking at Wimbledon, Ola Tomljanovic has just had a win a short time ago. So Ola Tomljanovic, the Aussie woman, has won through to the 4th round after she just beat Barbara Krejcikova in 3 sets, 2-6, 6-4, 6-3. And I mentioned, of course, Geelong's resounding win over North Melbourne to the tune of 112 points. It was 21-18, 144 to North Melbourne's 5-32. A couple of things out of that game just before I get back onto matters here. We saw Tom Hawkins kick 6 goals, 3. Jeremy Cameron, 4 goals, 3. Talk about key pillars up forward. How good have they been over the journey for the Geelong Footy Club the past couple of years, and 30 touches as well for Jeremy Cameron. Luke Davies-Uniacke led all comers with 35 touches for North Melbourne in what was another big defeat for David Noble's men. So that's what happened down the way at Clinic Park. But here in front of 16,027 fans. It was shy of the 20,000 they wanted to get here at Carrara. Collingwood 5-point winners over the Gold Coast Suns. I'll tell you what, Pricey, you and I only call the close ones. I only called with you a few years ago. Melbourne won that by 1 point.
Yes.
Marty Hall kicked I think it was Marty Hall, number 34.
Number 34.
Your old number.
And that was the first year of the 666. Remember how they couldn't have the flooding back? So.
Yep. Anyway, I digress. 0437 774 774. We'll wrap things up here. Give us a few numbers if you can.
Okay, I just got to go through the individuals very quickly. Tuke Miller, 31 disposals for the Gold Coast, 10 clearances, 10 tackles, 7 inside 50s. Noah Anderson with 30 and 6 clearances. David Swallow, 24, 7 clearances, 7 inside 50s. For the Pies, Nick Dacos, 37 disposals, again at 91% kicking efficiency, 3 clearances, 2 tackles and 4 inside 50s. Steele Sidebottom we just talked to, 27 disposals, 5 tackles. tackles and a couple of inside 50s. The Pies were plus 26 in disposals. Suns were plus 19 in contested possessions. They won the clearances 41-30, 13-4 the centre bounce clearances. Inside 50s, the Suns as well, 54-46, but the scoreboard, the Pies won by 5 points. That was the important stat.
That they did. A couple of things out of tonight's game. So Jordan De Goey is the curious one. That was part of the story coming in, I suppose, as far as how he responded to all the criticism the past few weeks, the sanctions from the AFL. He sort of delayed his return to footy. He didn't come to training until midway through the week. This week coming in. What did you see or not from Jordan De Goey tonight?
I think we saw a guy that was rusty and got a bit on his mind and all those sorts of things, but I think he would have welcomed the chance to get out and play the game he loves and get away from training and maybe out of Melbourne and all those sorts of things. So, he had an important win here the last 30 seconds on Collingwood's half-back line. And, they looked after him, but from all talk you hear out of Collingwood, and I know it's always good when you're winning and everyone loves the coach and those sorts of things, but it seems as if McRae's got a real connection with all the players and it allows them to express themselves and all those sorts of things on the footy field. You certainly got that feeling by Steele Sidebottom talking there. So, look, it'll be a talking point for the rest of the year, but I would think, who knows what I think, who really cares what I think, but
well, that's why we pay it.
Well, I think he would feel love from Collingwood, as in they looking after him. And when it first happened, they definitely looked after him, as a club should try and side with him to an extent. And then bringing him back in off a couple of days of training showed that, hey, we want you back in our team. You're important to us. We'll look after you, but we want to get you back in here and put our arms around you.
They may ignore it, but players are certainly aware of the outside noise in situations such as this, where there's criticism for one of their players, and they will often throw their arms around that player, obviously.
But and they started him in the centre tonight.
Yep.
They started him right in the centre.
But if anybody's going to look after their players, it will be Craig McRae. Fortunate enough to have worked with him for a couple of years quite closely. And Craig is the kind of human being who you describe as a mozzie. He must prepare. He must over-prepare for things. But he has got the energy of a man possessed. And it's not a misguided energy. It's an absolutely focused energy. And he brings that. And I suppose it just overflows onto other people, and he creates good relationships. It's not like you can, like the old alphas can't coach like the modern generation. You can't bang the table and beat them over the head with a 4x2. You must actually create a nice working environment, and he's done that.
And it was a great fit, coming off what they had, the media glare under Nathan Buckley when it wasn't working for them. They become stagnant on the footy field and all those sorts of things. It's their coach. He's coming with a freedom and an energy and a personality, and that's come onto the way they play. Their style of footy certainly replicates how he must be off the field.
The Gold Coast, back-to-back losses by less than a kick. So 2 points against Port Adelaide last week, 5 points tonight. So near yet so far. It's the difference between being potentially, 8-6 or now what, 7-8. Wait. Have it again. 9-6 or 7-8. Positives though, Isaac Rankin, he's now kicked 7 goals in 2 weeks. We know that his stocks are very much on the rise. He's a tremendous player. What did you like tonight from a Gold Coast point of view?
I just like their intensity. Q's been here, Pricey's been here. You go back last 5 years. This time of year, that's just been uncompetitive. They haven't been in the game. They've given a quarter or two, or that's it. They only won tonight. They only won last week away. They're showing, and this will harden them up. This is where you build the resilience in your side. You go away last week. I always used to love, I don't know about you, Matty, but the wins away. Those interstate trips when you have a win, just you're together. You feel like it feels like an 8-point win more than a 4-point win, but they played really well last week. They played really well tonight. They've got a good style of, a really good game style. There's a lot to like, and they've got a chance.
I'll give you one thing. Huago Paul Oyer.
Oh, yeah.
That's a positive tonight. I mean, we came here tonight not knowing an awful lot about, that he wouldn't be playing. I know that if you've been here, you've seen him in the NEFL or the VFL now and seen him around the place. He's had a few years now with the Gold Coast Suns, international scholarship holder from PNG. First touch, first goal, as you called Pricey. That is a special thing, not only for him and his family, but we talk about the growth of the AFL. That's authentic. There's a guy who, grew up loving Aussie rules in Port Moresby. Here he is in the big time. It was a huge moment.
Oh, good, great moment, and great for their the Suns' development, and then also for them to show how serious they are. And I think you asked where they are now. They're a team that are in every game every week. They've now got their ability or inability to get injured and lose half their list in the second half of the season, as Whitey mentioned, and just get flogged all the time. They're now going to be in every game right to the end of the season, and they're that mature through the lines. They can now afford to bring in young guys or guys who have really got to earn it in the VFL or the NEFL, which previously they never did.
Yes.
So sometimes the guys got to spend 5-6 weeks there to be able to get their opportunity to come in, because their team is pretty much settled. You know, a lot of guys have played a lot of footy together, and that's why they go to Adelaide and push Port Adelaide. That's why they nearly push Collingwood here, and I'm sure next week they'll push Richmond all the way to on their home deck here, because they have matured and they play the footy in the right manner. Their brand of footy is going to stand up week in, week out.
Richmond's no fait accompli here, absolutely. Next week, I think the Gold Coast were a big chance, but I love the way the youngsters came through, like Malcolm Roses as well. But it was, for mine, over the last several weeks, he's been building. His mate who got picked at number 129 draft, Matt Rao, but Noah Anderson he's a slow burn, and he's met Matt at the same level now. Yep. He is absolutely burning them and averaging 30 touches.
Highlights coming to finish. The 3-2-1 Player of the Year votes. Jeff White, how did they fall tonight?
Yeah, we went one vote for Rankin. We thought that he was just dynamic, and it wasn't only just the 4 goals that he kicked. I think what the coaching staff at the Gold Coast Suns are really impressed with is just coming up, his pressure, his ability to put opposition under pressure when they're coming out of the back line. So it was an outstanding game. 2 votes to Touk Miller. We couldn't leave him out, I guess. 31 possessions, 10 tackles, clean below his knees, like he always does. I think he's just an outstanding footballer, the engine of the team. We gave 3 votes to Dacos. 37 possessions.
Nick?
Yep. Well, Nick, 37. Yep.
Josh kicked 3.
Yeah, he played well.
It's a fair family tree.
Yeah, it is a fair family tree. But not only just the possession but that kick, that switch kick to his brother Josh to finish off that goal in that last quarter was just all class.
Yep. So 3 to Nick Dacos, 2 to Touk Miller, and 1 to Isaac Rankin. Next week, the Suns have got Richmond here at Carrara, so back at home Saturday for the twilight game. You'll be here for that, Pricey, and the boys, I imagine. Collingwood v North Melbourne at the MCG Saturday afternoon. So, again, it's that run home for Collingwood, which may see them add to their 6 straight wins. Here tonight, they were victorious by 5 points. Thank you, Whitey. Thank you, Matthew Primus.
Thanks for coming up, mate. Good to see you.
Spriggy.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, Pricey.
Thanks, Spriggy.
Thanks to Nee on the faders here at Carrara Stadium. To Zane Bojack, of course, who saw his 2 favourite teams here tonight and a win for the Pies, who are his number 1 team. Back to parental leave for you, Zane. Thank you very much. And to the team back in the studio as well. Thank you, most importantly, to you for your company. Winners today, Essendon over Sydney, Melbourne over Adelaide, Geelong over North Melbourne by 112 points, and here 5 points Collingwood over the Gold Coast Suns. That's all from us here from Carrara. Good night from us here on Grandstand AFL. Back tomorrow. Suns move it quickly here across the outer wing. Mark just forward of halfway. Swallow inside forward. 50 finds the chest of Mabior Chol. Connects from 40. Straight over the goal umpire's hat. The Suns have the first.
Rode by Ainsworth. Here he is. Oya. First touch in footy. And it's a goal. Fairy tale. Away goes Paul Oya. The first pup in the Guinean to come through the development system. First touch. Oh, that is brilliant. Collins picks it up off the deck. Handball indiscriminate. Ginnivan has a crack. And Ginnivan kicks a goal. He had a split second to deal with that. And a great little snap on the left.
Finds Adams inside 50 by hand. He can kick up the line. Ginnivan takes the mark. Just up above the boundary line. The umpire has played it. Not far from where he kicked that last goal on the run a moment ago. It's for back-to-back goals from Collingwood, and Jack Ginnivan crosses the boundary line to kick, brings it back superbly. Oh, he's a star.
Oya, handball Rankin. Rankin, oh my goodness. Isaac Rankin. There's the X factor.
Smothered here by Rao. Great second effort going inside forward 50 here, and it's marked by Cheetahs. It dropped in his lap, 35 out, lays off the hand pass to Rankin, not quite set, but kicks in a hurry and nails the finish. That was unselfish from the debutant James Cheetahs. Not away here for Swallow. Goes back inside forward 50. Quainer in the contest with Rankin. Second, third block. Rankin goes off the deck from the pocket, and it's all the way there. That is freakish. Isaac Rankin, that's in the conversation. That's his third.
Dacos not going to fair out 37 disposals, and it's immaculate. Finds his brother, who reaches 50, who launches. Oh, that is absolutely brilliant.
Sidebottom sends it high toward the hot spot. Up they go. Mycheck from the back through the coming Hoskin Elliott. Strikes one tackle and snaps and goals. Pies are in front. Ellis beaten to it by Maynard. That might be it. The Magpies hang on. Half a dozen on the bounce for Craig McRae's men. It was a tough contest on the Gold Coast, but they prevail by 5 points. 9-13-67 to Gold Coast's 8-14-62.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all